Tracy, what's on your wall beside you? I always look at that wall.
This is some of my artwork. I'll give you an example. Pick one.
Pick one for me.
Yeah, good question, Margot. I want to know too.
Beautiful. Oh, that looks like a karma circle. That's what karma circles look like in my treatment.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I've been painting circles for like 35 years, so this is the newest version.
It's beautiful. Do you sell them?
Well, I'm just working up to getting them available to sell. I've sold one because somebody I know who I teach a meditation class, someone bought one, but I haven't gotten that part worked out. They're kind of new, but
What's the medium, Tracy?
These are just gouache, but I recently found these neat panels that they have like a clay surface. So when you paint on them, you can scratch into them and
Cool.
yeah, they're just neat. But some of them are peeling and like I have to figure out how I want to frame them and
Ooh, well, if you want to
yeah.
sell that, if you want to sell that one, I'll buy that one.
You want that one?
I'll buy that one. Beautiful.
It's pretty. I love the colors.
Yeah, the colors are pretty neat. Well, I'll email you, Margot.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say no, but we haven't, you may not want it, but, I'm not saying it's super expensive. I'm just saying, but I want to tell people like there's, again, like the whole presentation, anyway, I don't want to take up our time, but you have to, I framed one for somebody that my intention was not to put glass in front of it because I liked that idea, but because it's gouache, and gouache is a water soluble medium, it'll reactivate if you don't spray it with Windex. Not that you would use Windex, but you can't get it wet, basically, is the thing. But most people would put that under glass. But anyway, I haven't figured that out, and so I'm not selling them in that finished form yet. So that might make a difference to you. But
okay, we'll talk.
Yeah, but thank you for your interest, everybody. That's sweet. I appreciate it.
Yeah, pretty well.
I thought you were a designer and those are all the color swatches.
Yeah, they're like that. I had some really tiny ones too. I used to work super big, but you can't. That's so tedious. So I like these like little pieces, and I had some pieces on paper that I had been working on like last year, but then I found this panel and I don't know, I just fell in love with it. So thanks for the feedback. And
yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm enjoying them and I like them, and they feel very healing to me. Like it's a big thing, right? So
nice.
they seem
They're
empowered.
so rich.
Or I'm empowering them, as I'm doing everything.
Yeah,
They're so rich, the colors. I love them.
Earthy. Keep us grounded.
Yeah.
Keep us light workers grounded up in the ethers.
Pulling it down, yeah.
That golden cord, let's just keep us tethered. Yeah, we have such creativity on this team. Everybody is amazing for how we create. Very good. All right, well, let's start. I'm going to share the screen. This is the nervous system, and there's quite a bit to it, so we'll just dive in right now. And so I am not able to go forward. What? Yeah. Oh, I guess I am. Okay, so that's me. Okay, nervous system, including all the nerves. And that's the sciatic nerve as well. And the neurons, central nervous system, spinal fluid and columns, areas in the third and fifth brain. So that would be the creative brain. So the right neocortex and the frontal lobe. Okay, direct the function of the nervous system and adrenal glands. So we're going to be talking about adrenal glands in this too. Okay, it goes along with it. So if somebody, you're going to be doing this with a client, you're going to be doing their nervous system and their adrenal glands. Okay, and then the nervous system fluid, the brain stem, and vertigo, inner ear fluid, which can cause dizziness. Okay, so we're touching on that. We're touching on ears and muscles related to the nervous system. So that's a lot of areas. But so first you want to do is you want to clear all programs negatively affecting or influencing the nervous system and the adrenal glands, so causing them to function at less than 100%. And then you're going to clear all cycles and addictions that are negatively affecting or influencing the nervous system and adrenals, for instance, stress addiction. Some people do have an addiction to stress. I remember I worked for a newspaper. I've been in advertising. Used to sell advertising in newspapers and magazines and different things like that. But one place I worked at, I remember, well, it was always on deadline. We were always on a deadline. So there was deadlines for several different products. And I found myself doing things right before deadline. I was always good and I got things in and I got it done, but it was like, how come I always waited to deadline to, to get things rolling, and it turned out it was like a stress addiction. It was like, yes, I did it again. Yeah, yes, I pulled it off or something like that. So it wasn't a very healthy way to do it. And I realized, that was what was going on. So, and somebody else mentioned it to me too in the creative department. It's like, how come you always turn your creative in at the last minute? I'm like, I don't know. Good question. So yeah, programs to clear include, but are not limited to, okay, so there's overwhelm, anger, frustration. So these are the areas then that you're going to want to clear. All right. So impatience, worrying around time management issues, too much to do, too little time, or multitasking, the ability to delegate effectively. So you don't want to clear that, but not
Be attached to it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Being attached to it, and to leveraging our time to achieve more, ability to prioritize effectively
Oops.
with ease and grace. Okay, so so you can just start clearing right now if you'd like. There may be quite a bit here if we don't get to, we may not be able to do the whole system. You might have to do some of this yourself just to come back and check to see where it is, because there's a lot of things here. So also there's chronic overstimulation of the nervous system. So these are around programs. So, we're just going to be clearing, but just by sending, gold energy into these areas and then checking to see, is it cleared 50%, 80%, 100%. So the chronic overstimulation of the nervous system, and that can be due to allergies or intolerances to foods and any natural fibers or oils or substances, EMF issues, chemicals, stressful environment, lifestyle, and geopathic energies. Okay, because that can affect our nervous system too. Chronic damage or dysfunction of subtle energy systems, including the heart, the electromagnetic field, the aura and spirit unit, mismanagement of the physical body, issues causing us to react negatively to star activities. That's not start, like star activities, and earth changes, getting caught up in collective thought forms, genetics and ancestral and past life belief codes, past life history and soul development, shock to your system, present life trauma, chronic energetic entanglements that drain our adrenals and nervous system, and maybe more. So if there's something else that you has just come up for you, then maybe you want to share it with us.
Marlene, I was, one of the things that I've noticed with not just myself, but with clients is sometimes in their spinal column, they can't hold it. They can't hold the correction. Have you ever had that? Like, especially for people who do a lot of chiropractic for a long time. So they're used to being corrected, and I'm not anti-chiropractic work at all, but I find that because it's so connected to the CNS, that the spine can't really hold it without being shored up. Have you ever had that? Or what's your hit on that? Because
Yeah, I'm not getting that so much. I do know that the nervous system really does take about a year to fully integrate with the clearings, and you may need to do it, you know, a couple, 3 times during the year and check at the end of the year if it's completed. So I know this is not a real quick fix.
and maybe that's what I get, is that it's always been like kind of has to redo it and rejigger it and come back. I mean, not during your system, but things I've done in the past, it doesn't always hold.
Mhm.
Okay, so maybe it's that I'm not giving it enough time.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
interesting. I wonder why it's so.
Test that and just see, do I need to do a regeneration more than once? Do I need to because maybe you get it up to 100%, but just like the nervous system, you're going to need to do it a couple, 3 times throughout the year. Yeah, so just check in muscle test, see if you need what's required. How many iterations of this do you need to go through to get a full clearing that holes? Because it feels like it. Yeah, with the spine too, and there may be other areas like maybe it's their perception still that's who they are, that's what their spine does, or so there's a lot of different things you check to see that you've got everything on your chart to clear for.
Speaking as someone who, I was one of those, people who couldn't hold a chiropractic adjustment, and like I was in my 20s, I was very sick with environmental illness, and like I was reacting to everything. I still have a lot of food intolerances and things, but over time, right, I've done a million things, and so many pieces I think have to come together with regard to the nervous system, which is great that we're doing it, right? It's so many things can trigger it, right, while it's healing. So it's not that it didn't work, but that in the meantime, some other thing, right, that got, whether it's a thought or, experience with a family member or life event or a physical, thing that doesn't work for that person. I would imagine in my own experience, it's hard to put all the pieces. I mean, I didn't know this till now, right? But that's why this is so brilliant, because it's trying to clear all these different things at once. It's not doing it 1 at a time or even 5 at a time. It's doing like hundreds at a time. And that in theory, it's touching all the different ways in which that system can be thrown off or destabilized, right? So if you can clear all those blocks to healthy function, and that may take time, then after that, then you'd have to see, does that person stay? Once a year is up, can they stay in that place where they can hold on to?
Right. So the goal is to
stability.
have a resilient, cleared nervous system, but then a strong and resilient one.
Yeah, and I feel so much less affected by lots of things that I used to. The people, now maybe who haven't been through what I've been through are getting triggered by all kinds of things. I still get triggered, don't get me wrong, but it's different. I have a strange feeling of more stability in some areas, even though some other areas are still weak for me. But anyway, I don't know if that means anything. It's just, I can see that, Dia, and I think this sounds like a great way to approach it, because it's sort of getting a lot of different pieces pulled together at once, which I think is what has to happen in order for healing to really be able to stick,
No, it's really interesting.
On that note, with you speaking about everything happening all at once, Tracy, and the line there that says the collective, just the collective environment or thought forms. There's so much of that going on right now, obviously. So any thoughts on like preparing people, or what's been your experience, Marlene, is there kind of a detox die-off, when you take all toxic food out of the body, there's this die-off process where you just feel, really sick, or because I find with this work, doing more of it, I get this really weird, it feels like it's coming up my nervous system. It's coming from the spine. It feels like almost like a kundalini up my spine. It feels like the cerebral spinal fluid's coming up, and I'm releasing the old stuff's coming from my lower energy centers up and out the top of my head. And it's like a Kundalini thing, but it's like I was awake last night with it. It's so, probably because we're doing this clearing today, and it's so profoundly uncomfortable. Like I understand it and I can do breath work to move it through, you know, like I can move it through, but sometimes it feels like an exorcism. Like it's so bad sometimes. And I'm thinking, God, if somebody went off and started having some of these experiences and didn't have the understanding or awareness or experience that they can ride that wave. So yeah, any thoughts on, is that what's happening when that's coming through me, or other, you know, do we?
Yes. Yeah. That's a good point, Margot, because yeah,
It's intense.
yeah, other experiences that I've had too, saying that the blocks are coming out of the spine, and it's just like unraveling for them. So yeah, I think you're muted.
Oh, I see. It's so intense. So, and could that be a sign too, like in terms of titrating our treatments? Like when you say all of it, I just think, oh my gosh, that's good that we're getting all of it. But my body gets a sense of contraction, like, oh, if it's too much too fast, they're going to have this purgy thing that I'm getting.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and that is something to look at for each individual client.
Yeah.
What can they handle and what can't they handle? Because some people are like, yeah, do it all. I want it all at once. You know, they go outside, throw up, come back in. It's like, whoa, I'm beautiful, you know, healthy, you know, everything's great, you know. It's like,
Yeah, but then sometimes sometimes they say that and they don't, they can't. I mean, I think you have to be careful of that, because sometimes they say that, dear God, make this all go away, but it can be very overwhelming for the systems, and you can have what I call flares for years.
Yeah.
So I do think we have to be very not cautious, but thoughtful, as we all are.
Yeah, well, that's my question. Yeah, I wonder if sometimes I have a thought like, am I making things worse? Like, am I re-traumatizing sometimes? Like the fears sometimes for me are so bad and so intense. It's it's like, oh, is that healthy? Yeah, like, so just that question about the balance.
And that's very individual, I think, for patients, right, or clients. I mean, it really is, you know, and I'm someone who has MS, so I'm really into the whole nervous system, because I get these, it's like an electric shock down my spine. It's part of the MS picture, which is very minimal now, luckily. I've been very lucky with it. I've done a lot of work on it too, but I'm just very, my approach with clients is very humble. Like, let's see what works for your body. Let's go, you know, I don't want to go big guns, even if they say, give it to me, because I don't feel like I'm going to hurt them. I don't have a fear around that, but I'm not sure if, like I was talking about the spine, it will actually hold long term, which is what I want for my client. Right. I don't worry about hurting anyone, but I worry about, not worry, but I think about, or we'll muscle test, will this hold? Is this the right timing for this system now? And it's maybe a little tedious to do with people.
Yeah, I guess that question, is just so important.
I take it easy.
A muscle test, like, is it appropriate? Does their body require individually?
Right. What can their body, because every body is so different, right? So what is in their highest and best now, and what can I make kind of a systemic change that might, you know, follow a beautiful domino then, right? To clear stuff, but not like throw everything at them. But I don't do it out of fear, but I do it out of caution.
Yeah, and the reason I really enjoyed this work, because I've been someone for 30 plus years, I can't get very far with anything before it tips me under, really completely. I'll be in bed for 5 years. So that's been my experience. I've had cancer, I've had autoimmune disease, I've had a lot of things, and it'll be years at a time. And other alternative healers, they'll think, oh, don't be resistant. You know, it's like, I know I can't even eat a certain food. But this work, I have not personally found that it's doing that for me. I mean, I might have some things come out of my, like mild, like I can't handle, I'm not really a believer in Herxheimer's. Like, I don't want to do anything that's going to give me that, right? I have learned that that is not a stable life for me. So, but yeah, you have to, I think, muscle test for people, because I can't be a, you know, an indicator for everybody else or anybody here that it's not going to do that. But I haven't found that. That's what I really, really like. I've been looking for tools that don't, people say, oh, well, you'll be sick for a little while and then you'll get better. And that's easy to say somebody who hasn't been sick for a long time, right? So I'm just saying other healers in the past have been taking
Right.
that approach, and I'm not into that. It's like gentle, easy does it. But I do feel like clearing as much, I haven't found that clearing, like these clearings are clearing a lot at once. And I'm sorry, Margot, that it's being so challenging, because that's really hard to feel like you're stable and safe, right? While you go through it. And I haven't had that experience, and I'm grateful for that. But I'm also thinking it could be like you are, you know, that could be something that you're going through, that this work is actually supporting you, like not for everybody, but you're
I do
having
feel, yeah, I feel it's good. Like if I really check in, I do feel it's good. And it's just that when that wave comes through, sometimes I worry that someone who doesn't have the awareness might find it overwhelming or distressing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, good points. So yeah, and then I always test the number of days till their next clearing. You know, like if they're gonna make another session with me, well, it's like, don't just, you know, yeah, go, here's a link, go make this, but test them and just say, look, I don't think your body's gonna be able to do another one until maybe another 10 days. So make sure it's, you know, booked out far enough for them. You know, tell them it's got to be, you know, a week from Friday or later. You know, so. Yeah.
Well, and that's that whole thing about, I mean, you know, like all of us, we've been going to different people for feels like 30, 40 years now. Healing crisis. Like I always hated that phrase. It just never made sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I just don't know if that's more of a thought form, or just someone doing a bad job. Like from, you know, like if someone has a healing crisis, I think that's, I don't know, as patients as well as, you know, healers, I think that's, I don't know how that all started, but it doesn't make sense to me. And I mean, I understand the concept, obviously, but I think that's more of a paradigm that I think it just means that was not a good energy work for you, or it was the wrong time, or they did too much at once. So anyway.
I studied with an Indian doctor for a long time, and he often talked about that's not like an Ayurveda classical, like they would never, it's not like he's the first person to say the same thing as you just said. Like it's not really supporting the system to create more toxins than that body can handle, right? Because his thing was oftentimes those toxins lodge in other places. They don't actually get out of the system. So whether it's from, you know, healing crisis or different types of detoxing things that are a little too activating. But, you know, I think everybody here has had their own experiences, and I think we're all on the same page that, you know, you muscle test, you know, so what's suitable for you, what's suitable for the client. And also I kind of feel like it's built into this type of work for some reason. It's sort of, I trust that my body's not going to release, if it's not ready to release that whole chart, is, you know, it's going to release whatever amount of that it's capable of doing now to feel stable. And if maybe that's something to add into any clearing statement, if that's.
Yeah, I think we're adding that into our intention right up front, is that, you know, with ease and gentle and what the person can handle, and just always incorporating that. Like I can even feel that languaging or thought form shifting in my body.
Yeah, and so a lot of the live streams I do, I say, you know, while I'm doing the regenerative process, I said, you know, whatever is the correct amount for you right now, that's what we're, you know, that's what we're sending, that's what we're going for here. So, you know, by saying that, that's my intent, is that we're not overloading somebody that can't handle it, but, you know, only the correct amount for you. So that's how I say it. But yeah, good points. Glad you brought that up, you guys.
And I just want to say that the reason I think this is so brilliant is because it's really trying to cover a lot of different layers and ways in which things haven't worked before, perhaps, or have overloaded the system. Like it's releasing like different types of blocks at this, timeline level, at this karmic level, at all these other levels where things have not been cleared, perhaps at one time, paired with other clearings that will allow them to clear with more ease. I feel that's my intuition about the way the work is working for me anyway. So I haven't worked with clients, so I don't know, but I like that, all the extra layers in there that aren't overwhelming, but just sort of allowing more pathways out.
I wonder if we can put this like, okay, so like on that last slide, there was like, lifestyle, geopathic energies, chronic damage of dysfunctional subtle energy systems, including the heart, electromagnetic field. Okay, that sounds like a lot of stuff, right? So I wonder if we can just say, okay, only in the, whatever's clearing whatever's in the correct amount for you. I wonder if we can put this out there that these things will clear eventually on their own progression. And so you don't have to come back and say, okay, so we didn't get that one cleared, but we got that cleared. Now we have to clear this. It's like, that would be a nightmare going back to their chart and checking off everything,
That's what I meant by the dominoes.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I mean by the domino effect. Yeah.
I think, holding that intention that their higher self can continue the work as required. As when the session is complete.
Okay.
Like so much percentage might come 40% now, and maybe, after the body's coping or the energy system, it can do another 20% or another 35 or whatever, like whether it's percentage or not, but yeah.
Which is hard when someone's suffering, of course, right? To have to say, let's do this. I get that we have to wait 20 days. I know that's hard, but it's hard when someone's really deeply suffering physically and mentally around it. But it is, it's more realistic and it's the path forward, but
Well, I like the idea that it can be cleared like 100% optimal for you right now, right? Like I've had several clearings of infections or thyroid function, or, like to just bring it up to above 50%, right? So I'm game with that. I get that it can only do so much so fast, right? So sort of the same idea applied to all the other clearing aspects.
What is your feeling about that with the infection clearing? How it takes so many rounds, or and each person seems to be a little different. Some people require a lot more. Some people they feel great and just a couple 3 clearings they're good. Of course, I suppose maybe somebody has more severe of a infection than somebody else, but other than that, would it be the person themselves? Would you think maybe thought forms, or what kind of read do you get on that, Tracy?
Yeah, I personally feel like I've had a lot of thought form things. That's why I really want you to do it, you to work with me around that. And I think that can be something keeping people, stuck in place. And I've seen people I've worked with other people to clear things like one at a time at that level. That's what I mean. Clearing a lot more, understanding thought forms in the way that this work does, and clearing other attached fields and things like that might also be leaving anchors and bringing thought forms back once you clear them. Like, I just feel like there's more potential here to really move forward. I feel like I've moved forward in ways that I never have been able to for 30 years, right, with that. So I feel like it's effective for me. I feel safe with it. That's the biggest indicator for me, that I don't feel like it's a danger to my ability to function, in my life, which other things that I've done, I feel like have been like that for me. So I do it or I don't want to do it because I can tell it's going to tip me over, So I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah.
I think that this is addressing more at that layer than other things. It's not like I've been exposed to everything, but other things that I've done, I feel like might clear 1 or 2 emotion things stuck to something, and then you do another one in a month or something. That's just way too slow for me, because I have a lot of emotions and I've been through a lot in my life, right? I'm 60. So sort of taking things more out at the root and working with more at once, without tipping someone over or pushing them into a state of instability, I think is really helpful. And in my case, I feel like it's needed because I'll never get through things one at a time. I don't have enough time left in my life, to go through that. So pulling a few more out that feels comfortable to me, and it has, it feels like it's moving the bar forward. And I do feel like the infection level and even thyroid and other things that have been kind of current chronic issues is improving for sure. So if it took me a year or two to really heal that, I'd be fine with that. I've had it for a long time, right? So
Okay, and
I
again,
just-
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I just got a download too. Just when you're speaking about the gold light, we can get as healers or fixers, I think, to the thought form of clearing versus, but always bringing back in, like replenishing. Yeah, I'm just getting a download, like the gold light, like allow the healing to come into, like not just doing clearings, but really bringing in a lot of that regeneration and the gold light. And I think I just got, when you were talking, Tracy, that is what this work is doing, that's why this work is, because it's not just clearing. It's actually replenishing and regenerating. So.
and making vibrant. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a client and she has, she's had herpes breakouts, like she's told me, I guess, like every 3 weeks or so for years, right? And then she did the infection clearing with me, and now she's doing private sessions with me to take this further, because even though it's improving, she has to ice her ass. To even be comfortable throughout the day. But she notices it's improving, it's getting better and better and better. But now I know, Tracy, you said, I would be happy if, just to see that improvement over a course of time. I would, so for her, for such a long time, this has been an issue for her. And she's going further into, okay, now I'm getting, different emotions are coming up for her, and we're clearing emotions at the same time. But in her case, it just, it's just taking so long, any hits on what's potentially holding up the process, or is this just the way it is because she has had such a severe, case of this?
Is she able to, has she found any kind of nutrient? I'm really not a big supplement person, actually. I really rely on food and very rarely even like herbs prepared by people that I know. But I found a couple things that I feel like really support me. But I think that she needs some kind of like that, like an antiviral something. I use a particular kind of a Tulsi thing made by this Indian person I knew, but that I feel is good for me, but that's coming through. But yeah, I don't know how old she is, but I don't know if you're really asking me. I feel like there's something in her thought forms that is afraid of actually feeling better. Yeah,
I'm getting thought form is, I'm getting that the inflammation is reminding her of the trauma, so she kind of gets to be right about it, or like, she was so traumatized by that. I'm getting there's so much trauma attached to the manifestation of the flare-ups, and then she's getting traumatized every time she has a flare-up, and then it's just looping. So clearing thought form.
Yeah, there's that whole thing about hoping, and then when things recur, it's like you're hoping, but should you hope, and how do you protect yourself from not being disappointed in the future? I feel like there's something about that, like afraid of getting better, afraid of being sick still, or afraid of having more flare-ups. Like there's some, I like the idea that it's a trauma, because that sort of fits with that sort of split thing. Like you both want to get healed, but you're sort of also afraid what will happen if I let go of this.
Right. Well, there's always a secondary gain that needs to be unearthed of illness and trauma. I also think get really strong ancestral interference, like really strong.
And I got cellular memory
Oh,
cellular memory keeps remembering however many times she's had this in past lives.
Yeah.
okay.
And I think
Marlene, I'm
each
getting,
time that comes up, the whole stream of anxiety thoughts comes with it. Like, so wherever
Yeah.
it comes from, ancestral trauma, this life, past life. So each time that gets triggered, it's pulling all these same emotions with it too. It feels like pulling that thread. So there's that seems, I don't know if that makes sense, but so each place, ancestral trauma, cellular memory, trauma from this lifetime, each time you pull on that, it has its own collection of anchors, emotional anchors that are repeating, right? So that's what it seems like.
Marlene, you might find these concepts or thoughts have been coming through for me lately too, and especially because you do so much of the physical stuff. It's like the words that are coming through are like matter to matter. Like we can't change form with form. Does that make sense? Like it's like she's stuck in the matter of it, like the form of it, the physicality, and we're bringing energy in. So the energy has to change the matter, like, and then moving into energy to energy. So it's like, I don't know where this is coming from, but when we're fighting matter with matter, it won't shift. There's something that she's doing that's keeping it in the physical form. So just holding the intention that it's going energy to matter and taking her more into the energy outside of the issue. She's focusing on the matter, the form of it, the actual manifestation of it, and then using energy to clear the energy around it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it's sometimes, I think, if we're trying to shift something in the form, like the physicality, we can, like if it gets trapped in physical to physical, it'll just nosedive. It's not going into the quantum for her for some reason.
Mhm.
Like helping her get more energy moving.
Yeah.
I feel like cycles is also at play there, like whether it's planetary cycles, even like some other cycles that are impacting her, connected to maybe ancestral or, but also like not like celestial things, other energies, not hers. Does she feel like positive that the work is doing something for her?
She is, yes. And she has had such a hard life growing up. I mean, parents, her brother, it was just really bad news. So she has so much there to work through, you know. So it's just been, you know, we clear emotions and then there's more emotions and then there's more stuff, you know. So yeah, it's just been a real, you know, process.
Super cool too, Marlene, that you know, I really commend you for trusting your intuition and bringing her into the space here. And one of the really neat things I'm experiencing is the power of the collective. And I'm getting the hit that just by bringing her into this space and the collective clearing that we can do for her will shift it. You know, when I'm working with a partner, you know, we're doing a retreat and we'll do collective healing. She'll have people on the table. She's a bit more into the physical movement of energy and I'll do the quantum work. And man, when we're doing it together, it's so powerful. So yeah, I think if we have trouble with clients or they're not shifting, just check in with each other, maybe do a mini collective just to shift things out.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, bring our tough cases together and let's all, yeah, I'm open to that. If you guys want to do some kind of, you know, meetup kind of thing and just bring our toughie.
Yeah,
Toughies.
putting someone on the table, we can all sort
Tough
of
nuts, yeah.
hold the intention. Yeah, because I agree with Margot. Looking at it more, it feels like she's sort of in this domain, and but that's why I'm saying, because I think people who've had long-term things and then have a lot of trauma in their life, which lots of us have, lots of different traumas, it takes a lot of time to get through all that. And so I'm grateful that this work tries to get through quite a bit in each effort. And I think that's really valuable because otherwise people, it's hard to get unstuck from those places. I feel like you're really doing it. It may not show that way clearly to you, but it's like, I feel like maybe I don't know, another 2 or 3 rounds, she might even notice more shifting than she's able to notice now. Like Margot, I'm just thinking that will help her become less, it's sort of like she's weighted down here, and it'll make her sort of like her pieces come apart more so that she's a little more buoyant. And once that starts, then I think it's easier to start
Letting it dissolve.
transforming. The pieces are more able to go. But yeah, there's a lot of density in there still. But see, the work you're doing is really great. And I love the idea that bringing her here is sort of infusing her with more, you know, more luminous, whatever we want to call that, potential for healing. Yeah.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you so much, you guys. Yeah. And Elizabeth, thanks you too. All right. Okay. So let's go back to the screen share. And so these are still programs. And so quite a bit here. And next. Okay, so now we have stress, panic, anxiety, worry, chronic distress, and then that cycle or addiction to stress patterns and the adrenal rush. Yeah, that could have been it. Yeah, because I drank coffee and stuff back then too, I remember. So yeah, people, heavy coffee drinkers could have these issues too. So clear for all programs, demonic energies, satanic energies that cause these clearings and regenerations to have the reverse or opposite effect on us. So that's an interesting thing that I don't think I mentioned before, but to clear that, that type of dark energy that could be trying to reverse the effect. Any comment on that?
Can you clarify that? I'm not sure what you mean. Sorry.
Well, I guess it would be, you know, we're clearing the satanic energies or the dark energies and so forth, but yeah, interesting where if we didn't clear them all completely, it could have like, okay, you know, stuck, of course, you know, wouldn't clear all the way. But then also, I have had clients that will say, hey, I'm just like, if you're clearing entities and so forth, they will say things like, I just got a hit that says, this is not going to work. You know, so dark energies that are staying regardless, like this is not going to work, right?
Oh, so it's like a sabotaging energy.
Yeah, sabotaging.
Okay.
Yeah, and it does work. They do get cleared off, but it's like that's what they're trying to say, to scare off, you know, to have you stop doing this or whatever. But yeah, you gotta stay on these, the dark programs, to make sure that we are 100% clear, so that it doesn't sabotage and go, you know, backwards or stick there. Yeah.
I think that's really at play in your situation, especially with something like those viruses are so tricky. They're like that. Like it's like they have a personality, and then like they might get better, but sort of like those thought forms kind of throw a bomb and kind of cloud everything up, and then you have more work to do. So it's sort of sabotaging that you did the work, but it aggravated that darker energy to kind of create more thought forms that now need to be cleared as well, right? So it's a continue kind of throwing I'm calling it like a thought form bomb, like just kind of poof. So it's sort of working against, you know, and then the person themselves feels like this isn't going to work, and, you know, blah, 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 or it's too hard or something like that.
If you guys know, if anyone knows Stacy Mayo's work in Florida, like Stacy would probably say that's an abusive program that's super deep. And I find that talking to clients in those words is really helpful sometimes, who don't want to, don't like the words of dark energy or whatever, like that heaviness, and that those abusive programs are just really deep within us sometimes, and takes a while. So just a thought. Sometimes it's hard to explain it and word it with clients, especially when they're very God-centered.
Yes.
There's very kind of a complication there that needs to be, you know, again, everyone's different, but, you know, because people will say, well, we're all from God, there's no such thing as dark energies. So just kind of different ways to think on that, you know, and I don't really come from a specific belief system about it, but I am really sensitive to, you know, even with COVID, you know, how to talk to my clients about this virus that morphs. It was funny. I had been saying that it morphs so much, and CDC just like, oh yeah, it morphs a lot. It's like crazy morphs, right? So anyway, it's just kind of an interesting way to talk to people about that. That instead of using, I mean, I don't know how much you talk to people about dark energies and all that stuff, but that can really be disturbing to people, which one could say is an abusive program or is a dark energy anyway. And then we have the self-sabotage effect. So just a thought onto that.
Yeah, thank you, Dia. I like that. An abusive program. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, panic, stress, anxiety. Okay. And then there's the it won't or can't heal program. So you want to look for that and clear that. So that could be like part of the scenario with the woman that I just talked about with the herpes outbreaks. You know, maybe she does have that can't heal, won't heal program. So,
well, and that's certainly part of medical control energy tells you that's not healable. It's permanent. Yeah.
Yeah. Good thing. Yeah. And that's the medical control energy that we clear. And this is, yes, can't heal, won't heal. Very similar to medical control.
Or is that group mind virus?
It can be that too. Yes. And atheist thought forms too, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and just adding can't heal, won't heal as a addition to those, I think would be suggested too. Okay, so then you're going to want to test the color of the nervous system. And so blue is the brilliant color that you want here. You want a brilliant blue. If you can see the nerves just lit up beautifully blue, clear, just that brilliant, I guess is the word that I'm looking for, but that's the color of a healthy nervous system. So the first thing you do is to, send just like any other organ or gland, you want to just send gold to raise the energy of the whole system up to 100%. And then just see it lit up beautifully in that brilliant blue. So then you want to clear any spiritual parasites, demonic energy, satanic energy, any people in bodies that are negatively affecting or influencing or blocking the 100% function of the nervous system and adrenal glands, and any clearings and regenerations that we do. So people in bodies that are negatively affecting, so that maybe that could be their doctor saying you can't heal or won't heal. Maybe it could be their religion. So you're not clearing the person, that other person, you're just clearing that effect in the client themselves. So checking to see, is there, maybe their spouse is saying, maybe there's a benefit for them keeping that other individual in a state of illness. Maybe they're off doing their fun stuff and then that spouse would just drag things down if they were with them or something, who knows? And it's like, oh, you're, just stay in bed. You'll be, watch some TV or so, or whatever, right? So there could be that. Other kind of energies that we're not even maybe thinking about. And then you want to clear programs around the mental imbalance. So mental energy, like it's stuck around their head. So especially with the anxiety and so forth, they're always in their mind, in their head, right? Instead of having the spirit all the way in their body. So you want to test to see if they're 100%, if it's above 100%, right? Their mental energy. And if so, you want to bring the gold energy to bring it back down to 100. But then I also see their spirit filling out their entire body all the way down to their toes. So getting them all the way in. This just is the way I start my sessions with people anyway. Bringing the earth energy up their feet and then the golden sun energy down through the crown, clearing everything out in between, including their field. and all the energy bodies then, the emotional, the mental body, you know, auric layers, meridians, if you want to do that, from any energies from the mind, body, spirit, aura, perception, from all time, space, and all directions, all languages, dimensions, realities, realms, including satanic information in the aura and fields. So you could break that down and just see what applies to your client. And then you're going to go into the timeline programs. And so you want to clear all those programs mentioned above from all timelines, right? So make sure you do that when you're actually working in them, I think is a good thing. So from the point of origination, everything that happened on origination, the past and the present and the future, it's all on the same continuum happening at the same time. So clearing all past lives and any karma related to past lives. And this can be done by sending the gold energy into the timeline, like the shooting dice, to clear it. Or you could vacuum up, you know, sometimes just vacuum up any of the negative issues or programs created on that timeline. So you can see them as dark spots maybe on that timeline and just, you know, suck them up with the timeline vacuum. And then visualizing the timeline as a string, it could see it running from the back of your body, which is like the past, and then moving all the way ahead of your body, which is the future. And then sending that beautiful gold healing energy throughout that entire continuum. And then you want to clear the heart. So interesting too, because of course that's part of the electrical system. So you've got the amplification realm. So all the dark energies there, soul contracts, curses, cycles, and timelines again from the heart. And then you're going to look at emotions, emotional thought forms, emotional body, etheric body, heart, okay, affecting your heart negatively. So emotions that could be affecting your heart negatively. Shared energy cords, contracts, agreements, karma, cycles, timelines, and ghosts. Because ghosts, if they're attached to you, you know, they could be having emotions that aren't yours. And I guess you could check for spirits and guests and that kind of stuff too. And of course, you've got the dark energies, or, you know, parasites, entities, attachments that can affect the perception too. So, so making you moody or feeling different ways that wouldn't be you. Okay, so, and we may have already talked about this. I think this might be a duplicate slide. But if not, there they are again. So, and then the group mind virus, black magic, negative thought forms, trauma from past lives and from current, the etheric body, the emotional body, cycles and timelines. Now, cycles and timelines, they can go into the different realms, right? So if they're in amplification, but they're also in perception, right? So, and you can even check to see if they're in emotions. I get yes. So that's why they're in more than one time that you see it here. And let's see, did we lose someone? Looks like G had dropped off. We'll watch to see if she comes back in. Or it could be, it's at the top of the hour. Maybe she had to take care of something. Okay. Clearing bloodlines then and DNA. So then you're going to want to look at their bloodline. Clearing anything, and clear separately, obviously the bloodline from the DNA, as it's going to cover more around the ancestors and the children, the descendants and future descendants, and their karma and programs too. And then following the DNA clearing and reset protocol. So DNA clearing here again is just, you know, you can imagine that the DNA double helix, so seeing it straightened out so that all the strands are visible, or all the, you know, the whole strand is visible. Visualizing 22 strands from the mother on one side, 22 from the father on the other, and then the two God DNA strands in the middle. You can see that if you want, or you don't have to. I mean, but you can just see, you know, okay, here's the strand, here are all these black dots on the strand. These are the negative DNA programs. And then, or pictures, you can see them as pictures on the DNA that you want to clear out. Some people see maybe poverty pictures, or, you know, maybe a slave or something going on, you know, that could have been compromising our systems now. So, yes, maybe nutritional, you know, issues from another lifetime, you know, could cause the adrenaline, you know, whatever going on with that. Or the work hard, the servitude program. If you're, you know, so we're a slave, maybe you had to work hard, and maybe you just worked your adrenals to, you know, fried them out, that kind of thing. So, and then you just clear off the black dots, a few swipes, whatever it is that you're doing. And then the resetting, you want to, after clearing all the programs off the DNA strand, then you can visualize a perfect pictures of new programs, just like what we were saying too, is replenishing what it is that we eliminated here. So visualizing that beautiful, and I don't even really like to say programs here. I'm going to say the new version. I just get hung up over programs. I don't want to be programmed again, ever again. You know? So a new version that you want to have in the DNA surrounding your healthy body with a healthy nervous system and adrenal glands. And so imagining as many perfect pictures as you want, and then sending pulsing golden light into all the DNA strands to reset and seal in this new version. Or you can just send in gold energy into the strand to reset and seal the new version. So along with visualizing the perfect pictures, we can also state out loud our desired new version program. So that is, I have a healthy nervous system and adrenal glands which are functioning at 100% consistently, and I have an ample amount of energy and energy reserves. So that works too, just by stating things. The voice and the words are very powerful. Okay, so now once you've completed that, you're going to take the DNA strand, pack it back into the master cell, sending the beautiful golden light back into that master cell. And then you're going to match the surrounding cells of DNA to be just like the DNA in the master cell. So then you can visualize the cells in the whole body being matched with that, you know, with the surrounding cells, so that each of the cells for the entire body have the new DNA version. And then you're going to visualize a golden sun coming into the whole body to increase the light in the body to aid the matching. And then imagining the whole body with the new DNA version and allowing the process to go on overnight for a permanent DNA reset. So you want to intend that it's going to take a permanent reset here. So if, you know, and if there's other DNA, then follow the same process that, you know, for the donor organ or whatever it is, blood. Okay, so then you're going to follow the cell regeneration protocol for 20 master cells in the nervous system. And don't worry about counting them all, just intend that all master cells that you're working in. And regeneration, so you're going to intend, you know, the master cell again, what we were doing, get the cell to 100%, activate for new cell growth. I like to activate the mitochondria because they are like the little energy centers, right? So you activate the mitochondria and then they just take off, right? So then you can identify the days of upgrade period and if additional regeneration is required. So that's for the total nervous system, right? So you can do this in two different ways, by either sending the gold energy into the master cells to 100%, and then sending this golden energy to repair all breaks in the DNA, and then to turn the light of the cell on to 100%. Or you could just visualize a pulsing golden sun on the body part or organ or the nervous system, and then imagine the master cell is all gold in your mind's eye, and then repair the breaks, the DNA, by pulsing gold energy into anything broken until all are repaired, and then you turn the light of the cell on. That's the activating the mitochondria, and then visualizing that golden light in the cell. Then test to see if the master cell is now at 100. And if so, that's the activation of the new generation in the mitochondria, and the mirroring then, right? So then imagining the master cell is happy, full of light, by sending more gold energy, and then match the surrounding cells to be just like the happy master cell, all to a golden light at 100%. And then these surrounding golden cells will provide a healthy environment for new cell growth to occur in the rest of the system. So you can just see gold to optimal gold energy. Then muscle test again, the number of days that it's going to take for a full cell regeneration. Imagine the divine human template of the master cell of the organ to be grown, being all golden by sending this gold light, then starting the flow of new cells. So really you're going to match, you know, that master cell to all the cells in the nervous system. Then you're going to want to check the muscles related to the nervous system, right? You want to clear those with gold energy. So any muscles that are connected, well, you know, that could be maybe all of them, wouldn't it be? I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that all our muscles? Anybody?
Yeah, especially the myofascia, all of them.
I would think so, wouldn't it be? Yeah. They're all connected to a nerve, right? I mean, for impulses, I mean, I would say it would be, yeah, so clearing all muscles. Now, the good thing is that muscles regenerate pretty fast. Muscles and bone. So that's a part that could go quicker. But so yeah, so you're going to clear anything, you know, of the muscles related to the nervous system with the gold energy. And then you're going to want to do what we call like a gold ribbon healing of the whole nervous system. So you can see that this band potentially, and it's connecting all of the parts of the nervous system together. So you just see this beautiful golden healing ribbon, just now it's communicating with all the parts. Everything is integrating together, and you can just kind of see everything coming together, the muscles, the neurons, the, you know, everything involved with the nervous system, just all connected and communicating. And maybe there's a beautiful golden glow, and it's, you know, you can say, okay, is it 50% connected now, 60, 70, 80? You want to get it to 100%. Maybe I should put that here. By connecting all parts to 100%. So that would be the final area with the nervous system. So aftercare, to clear the nervous system, it takes about a year. So that's what we were saying. And the clearings and regeneration protocol has to be repeated 3 times or so, or whatever the body says, right? So then you can test the number of times it will take for full regeneration. So if I did this whole clearing right now, you can maybe test yourself. How many times will it take me to get to full regeneration? That might be something you can ask yourself. Okay, Dia is back.
I don't want to interrupt and go backwards here, but just want to say, have you done, I just want to, in case you haven't, have you done the nervous system for Elizabeth?
I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and check her chart. I want to say yes, but I don't know. I don't want to say offhand, but that's good. Okay, so.
Yeah, okay. It's in those nerves, right? So it's in all the pathways. So yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay. And Dia, we were just going over, I'll back up just a couple of slides here.
Sorry, my battery died. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. So yeah, we were just going from the DNA. I think that's where you hopped off. And so the DNA, and then going into the 20 master cells of the nervous system for regeneration, you know, doing the regeneration of the full system, and just in the way that we usually do it. Checking to see if the master cell then is 100, activating the new cell generation in the mitochondria, mirroring that perfection to all cells, gold optimal, and then testing to see how many days. And then we want to clear the muscles related to the nervous system with gold energy, and this is where you just pop back on. So that would be, we determine all muscles really, because they're all connected with nerves somehow, right? So we're intending now that we're clearing the muscles just by sending in the gold energy, all muscles that connect to the nervous system. And then this is the gold ribbon healing. So did you hear that, Dia, about the gold ribbon?
I'm sorry, I did not.
Oh, okay. So this is where you just basically see gold energy, but it's in like a beautiful ribbon, and it's connecting all parts of the nervous system together. So you can just kind of swoop it through, connecting, integrating, communicating. All parts are now optimally, effective. The whole system working together.
That's after you clear the muscles?
Yeah. Because that's part of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then this is where we were said that it takes about a year, and it could have to be repeated maybe 3 times or so, and that can be within the course of the year. You don't have to wait for end of a year and go 3 years, nothing like that. But just, ask the body how many times it's actually going to take for a full regeneration. So if you got it done and then, 40 days later, you're checking, how are we doing here? Is this going to take, completely, or is it going to require another one? Okay, how many? So that's what I was saying. You can ask yourself how many, if we did this whole regeneration on ourselves, about how many times will it take for a full regeneration? And I just get to do, I don't have to do it anymore. I've already done it, I don't know, a few times, I guess. So I could just do a little, brush up on it or whatever, but that's what I'm getting for me. So is anyone else getting a number?
I'm getting 40 days for me, 50 days for my daughter, and 3 cycles for me and 4 cycles for my daughter.
Oh, goodness. Okay, very good. Yeah, no, I mean, that's,
It's I think it's all the trauma that's been re-triggered this year. She's been re-traumatized. So it's really just keeping that really clear, moving it off, just taking the energy off.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so and that's going to be, I would say, it seems to be like kind of an average, right? Because it said it could be 3 times or so. You've just shown that that's what it is for your case. Yep. Okay, so aftercare, removing alarms, high stress sounds out of the environment, the adrenals, set the nervous system on high alert, and can put us in sympathetic mode so nothing can regenerate or heal with the body in this mode. And all energy goes to your limbs, so you can run away from danger. And then you want to choose to be around loving, supportive people, low stress people, and change your music. Real nice, relaxing, uplifting sounds in the house. Relax in a bubble bath, light a candle, meditate, walk in the woods, just take a walk outside, whatever. Do karma and love clearing processes for removing old, difficult connections. That I thought was kind of cool to look at that too. So these could be recommendations and suggestions that you do, and then you could then actually put on other clearings that maybe come up for them.
Another good recommendation, I think, is, well, because I'm in DC, so it's hyper political here, but is to get yourself on a media diet, like watch the news. How many times a day do you watch the news or listen to the news or read the news? Kind of decreasing that, stay informed to make yourself less anxious. But then a lot of people, at least here, go over the top with it because it's so right. I have clients who've been down at the Supreme Court every day since Ruth died, like hysterical, right? Or, protesting against Trump Tower or whatever his hotel is, like committing to every day, like it's, or so it's for here it's activities, but also it's kind of calming down the news exposure as well. And it's interesting. I know that I have one client who's 75 and he just loves, he has these really noisy dogs and he loves to hear them fight. And he has a very sensitive 18-year-old daughter who has a lot of issues because of her mom's death. And he's just an addiction junkie. He loves the adrenaline. He loves to argue with his sister. He loves to argue with the news. He has the news on all the time. So it's also, besides adding, all I'm saying, it's also taking away. And maybe depending on where you live and your interest, you're a little less connected. I have people who are like checking COVID deaths every day because they've been traumatized, right? But, you know, because they've been sick, they've been in the hospital, right? So it's also kind of, there's something when I used to work with cancer patients called worry time. So I really love worry time. It was like they would have every day, 20 minutes, you could worry about your cancer.
Okay.
If you wanted to, right? Like, because it just ended up kind of spreading over everything, or a couple times a day, whatever works, but to kind of compartmentalize it a little so you're not so flooded, because that's all. So just a few ideas there, kind of CNS related.
Yeah, I do ask people when I find a lot of attachments on them, I ask them about, do you watch TV? Do you, blah, blah. I don't just say that, but I add a couple, whatever questions on there. And they say, well, I have to watch the news. It's like, okay. And because they can get attachments from that broadcast television, it's in the frequency of fear and the liquid crystal of our screens, they can actually come straight through that stuff. So yeah, good point. Yeah, good point. Especially now, people are traumatized and they're making themselves freaked out, like you're saying, going down there and just freaking out. And I see a lot of people just yelling at people in their face or something, like, when is this acceptable? And so can you imagine the adrenals, they're frying themselves out over this. So yeah, it's time to funny times, but yeah, people don't realize what they're actually doing to themselves and to their future. How are they going to be in the future? Okay, and then luckily we did this last month, but then you can clear circulation. So the oxygenated blood to all parts of the body is something else then that you could suggest at this point, or you just build it into the package. But this would be, well, the heart is part of the nervous system, right? So pumping that blood through, and then the lymph system, again, good thing we did that, but that's the removing the toxins and dumping them into the liver and kidneys. So you could add the lymph system on too. You could actually add on liver and kidneys depending on what the readings are with those. And a heart regeneration, you could actually add the whole regeneration of those other areas on here, just depending on how involved you want to get or what their budget is. If they want to do, you want the whole makeover, you're in a real, critical state, this might just be the whole thing you need, to get all the pieces. And then of course, you're going to want to tell them what, drinking water and so forth. Check for your email recording. Okay, so that is nervous system. Anything else to add to that?
I don't know that I can add. I have a question though, about, and this just came into my mind. I don't know why I didn't think of it in previous clearings. It's not just with this, but what about, what have you found with regard to scar tissue? Because like with nerves, impulses and things like that, right? Anytime there's been any kind of cut to the fascia, the nerves don't communicate the same way. And are you finding that with people who have scar tissue, or that scar tissue shows up as an issue that needs to be cleared in some other way? Or I'm just wondering, I have scar tissue, but I'm also thinking when we're talking about your friend, I feel like something with a chronic virus, I feel like even though people don't talk about it this way, there's something like a scar tissue that I think is also happens different. That's my intuition about different pathways. So I started thinking about it a while back, but So do you know, is there something additional to think, or how would I think about scar tissue with reference to this?
And are you talking just regular, and where would the scar tissue be?
Let's say someone has any scar tissue anywhere, like the nervous system in general will be impaired, because even if you have, like, had something cut on your foot, like it will impact the whole system, right? Because it may really just show up as some challenge to full circulation in that foot, but you know, the whole system has been impacted because it's been breached or has some kind of, you know, knot in it or something like that. So at the physical level, but I'm just wondering, even if it's not a significant scar, I personally do have significant scarring, but you know, I know that sometimes it can affect muscle testing, and you know, people, you know, sometimes wanted to, in the past, people used to check if you had scars, and that might reverse your polarity and different things. But I don't necessarily know what that means to me now, but I just mean anybody, as part of putting it involved in the clearing, where might I think about that as being something to clear or check to see if it has additional issues wrapped up in that, you know?
Yeah, good point. Really good point. Anyone want to jump in? Anybody getting a hit?
I don't even know what I'm asking. I'm just throwing it out there, like not sure where it fits in, right? So
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, I just see it, Tracy, showing up, yeah, as a block, like just another check, like it's like almost like emotional or nervous scar tissue versus yeah, I can see just holding the intention and clearing any scar tissue or yeah, sort of sinewy blocks, resistant blocks.
yeah, so you just want all the information, whether it's energetic or physical, to be able to pass through. It's not so much about having the scar, that's fine, as long as the functionality is complete still. The pathways can be completed, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I like that, Margot. Just think of it as a block and just clear it as a block, a
But
potential
then,
block.
yeah, and then again, that reinforcement piece where Marlene does the piece about integrating everything so that it is integrated despite anything that's still there and will continue.
Yeah, I like that. It came to me when I was envisioning the golden ribbon. You know, I thought, oh yeah, but okay, yeah.
Yeah, the full clearing. Yeah, to integrate everything to get it to 100%, and then you're gonna go to 100%. So maybe you're out at 40% and something seems stuck. Well, maybe it could be stuck in the scar tissue or wherever. So just continue to go until you get to 100.
Right. Okay. And just something to maybe look into if you can't figure out what else could be blocking, maybe.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought it up. I've got it on our notes. Yeah. So if anyone else gets a hit on that, share it with us too. Okay. So, well, let's go. I don't know if you guys want to break first, or should we just go straight into the hair?
I could pee, but I can pee and come back and probably not miss too much.
Yeah, let's take 5 minutes, okay? And just take a quick bathroom break.
Marlene, I don't want to like over dominate anything, but if we're still on a break, I just want to say the other thing again, I'm asking because it might already be covered in the clearings and I might not be seeing it, but about the virus, I feel like there's like a merging, like there's a shared energy with the virus itself. And sort of the virus, I feel like gives, like kind of controls the thoughts. It has like some kind of thing in it that kind of wants to dominate the personality and the thought forms that the person has. So until it's totally gone, there's still sort of a lot there, I think, that gets reactivated, right? And it will kind of, yeah, it's a weird thing. It's like a demonic force. You're muted.
So yeah, so it's real tricky, isn't it? Like it can come and go and just like, yeah, haha, you know, I was here and you thought I was cleared and blah, blah, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's sneaky.
Just like clearing demons. First you get no, and then it's like, wait a minute, no, there's two or whatever, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's sneaky. It's very crafty. It'll find a way to stay, you know.
Yeah. You want to know something? I had a client I worked on this week, and I found a walk-in, and it was a risen demon walk-in, right? So an alien type 8, and it all things pointed to it is like all these things that have been happening to her body, and they weren't things that had happened to her before a surgery. So she had this walk-in come in during a surgery when she was out. And she was never she couldn't sing like she used to, all kinds of things. Her teeth are going bad, all kinds of problems she's experiencing. And I got, yes, this is a walk-in. And so she was supposed to have another session this afternoon. And last night she said, she emailed me and she said she canceled the appointment. She talked to her clairvoyant and she said that she's not seeing a walk-in. And so to stop all clearings immediately. So I'm just, you know, to me, I get that that's the walk-in talking. And to, like you just said, sneaky, crafty, just to stay put. It wants to stay in that body. It does not want to leave in that body. So therefore, it had her cancel the appointment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what you?
That feels true to me. Yeah. Yeah. And they'll try to confuse you because self-doubt, I wanted to say that also check for that, like big thing with the virus thing too. But yeah, they're sneaky and then they make you not know who to trust, right?
Right.
Clairvoyant over you.
Common are walk-ins? I don't see them often.
You don't see them often, no. But what's weird is I've seen a couple in this last week.
Oh, probably a sign of the times.
Maybe so. Yeah, it feels like it just kind of started maybe ramping up again. I don't know.
It's like with people getting out of their bodies so much in panic and like whatever emotional, you know, attachment to some thought forms that they're having, opinions and stuff. You know, if you're not here, something else is going to come in, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be home in order to keep your house, you know, in order.
Yeah, and the fear is a very low vibration emotion, so that resonates with this stuff. And then the next thing you know, all you have to do is, oh, I don't want to do this I don't want to be here. This is crappy, whatever. You all of a sudden, I guess you open the door to allowing things in.
Yeah.
Like that. And then they're speaking for her. So it's like she's had this for years and years and years, and she keeps going to healer after healer after healer after healer. And now they're wanting to do her teeth, and they're wanting to do her vision, and they're wanting to do all these things that this thing has caused her body, but they're not getting to why is this stuff happening in her body, right? So and then yeah, so I don't know. I guess maybe she has a relationship with the clairvoyant for many years now, and they've worked together, and maybe that she trusts her. But she was asking me names of different healers. Who should I see about my teeth? Who should I see about blah blah blah? Who should I see about why I'm and she was giving me names and who's better. And so yeah, exactly. the self-doubt and lack of,
Confusion,
yeah.
like just like chaos, confusion, chaos, always something coming up and yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Uh-huh. Yep. Always something coming up. And, you know, during our session when we discovered this, she was like feeling, I could feel relief. I could feel like, oh my gosh, that makes sense, because the different things that were tying into it that we found, it all made sense. Like chakra 6 and 1 are involved. And sure enough, chakra 6, her, you know, sight, right? So her sight was going, right? So, and chakra 1, root, well, she's, I don't want to go into it, but it's, there's an issue there too. So yeah. So, okay, well, thank you for that. Cause, you know, that was not upsetting, but it's just a little concerned that, you know, why she would just, you know, but then that's what I figured too out, you know, it's really not her talking probably. All right, so hair and nails. We're gonna put hair and nails in here, and you can even, you know, maybe package it with skin if you want or something like that, but this is,
I assume that might include eyebrows.
yeah, let's include eyebrows, eyelashes. And let's add like, you know, color, hair color. The consistency or thickness. And then, you know, dry or oily or whatever.
Like strength, not brittle, right? So
Yeah, right, strength. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Yeah. All right, so this is what it's going to cover. It's going to cover the emotional brain, clearings for better hair and nails, and then the regeneration of the emotional brain and the hair and then the nails. Right, so this is the amygdala for emotional brain is what we're covering here. So emotional brain, you're going to want to clear stress, pain, envy, hate, drama, and negativity. And let me look back here again. So yeah, so first off, we're just going to clear areas here, and then you're going to clear, you know, the amplification realm, including bloodline. And then you're going to clear the mind, perception, curses, won't work thought forms, trauma, this and past lives, and timelines as well. And then you're going to clear emotional thought forms. And then you're going to go into the DNA. So the DNA, same thing here. You're going to look for, so I should put here, so DNA programs. And this is where we're going to say about the hair color, thickness, strength. Hair color, thickness, strength. Anything else we can add in here?
Luster.
Luster, and then loss, hair loss. Programs, you know, for, you know, male pattern balding or whatever they call that.
Right, and then some people have too much hair.
Oh, okay.
That's I have some clients who have too much.
Oh, okay. And then there's the estrogen, I know, dominance that that forehead where they,
And polycystic ovaries,
oh yeah, okay.
they get like that, yeah, this mustache type hair, excessive hair on the body.
Okay, yeah, uh-huh. So these are all programs.
Also, people that are anorexic can have excess hair all over their body.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's like a little fuzz to keep them protected because they don't have nutrients. And it's like a manifestation to protect the body.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, and then okay. I guess oh, if there's something
What
else
about those little white spots? What are those called?
on your
Hair grows in one little spot that's white.
hair?
Have you seen those?
Huh.
I have one and my husband has one. It's like the pigment on the skin is white and then the hair that grows out of that spot is pure white.
Oh, really? So on the scalp, a white spot?
My husband's is on his scalp and mine is in my pubic area.
Okay, so white spot. Oh,
Skin
interesting.
is completely a different pigment color and then the hair growing out of the skin. And my husband has one. It looks like there's someone took a paintbrush to the back of his head. A white paintbrush.
Wow. What happens if you don't?
I think his dad used to smack him on the head.
Oh no!
Like as a kid, like, you know, just a little head smack.
Yeah.
And I think that's where.
Something I've noticed. I used to have real dark hair, you know, on my arms, like a lot of it, right? I can't even really hardly pull a hair on my arms anymore. So where'd my hair go? Any ideas?
All those clearing.
I want it, right? For the longest time when I was a kid, like, oh my God, I have just dark hair all over my arms, you know, and now I can barely find any. Maybe from living in the desert, it got all just burnt off.
I'm the same way. I used to have like a lot of hair on my forearms, and now not so much. I don't have much hair on my legs either anymore. But I was thinking, you know, thyroid has something to do with hair growth too, right? So I was thinking,
Yeah.
that may have something to do with it. But
Yeah, for sure. And then you could, yeah, so let's just put, you know, we could put thyroid.
Is this incorporating skin? Did I hear you say too?
Well, you can, this is not, but you
Oh.
know, you could package it that way because,
Okay, I was thinking of skin pigment, just those aging spots. It'd be good to clear those.
yeah. But melatonin or not melanin is for the color, right? So we had hair color. Let's move that by melanin. So maybe the melanin levels, and that is that can be determined by, what is it, the hypothalamus, I believe. I think so. Let's just put that on there. Hypo, because that's our master.
Yeah, it speaks to the brain clearing. No, maybe not emotional brain, but
Yeah, I think it does have a bearing on that chemical though, melanin. So yeah, that's good. Thyroid, yeah, and anything else that that comes up. But what we're doing here is clearing the programs. DNA programs to 100%. And then activate. Activate. okay, well, let's just say vacuum off the DNA strand. And then of course you're gonna check for reset, DNA reset.
Could you share your screen again, Marlene?
Oh boy, oh yeah. I'm sitting here typing away. Okay. I'm typing into the box right here, everything we were just talking about.
It's okay. I'm actually waiting for the doc, but I like to read along with you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know I was not sharing. So, okay, so that's all in DNA. And then you're going to go into regenerate. So for hair, you want to DNA. I already did DNA. Okay, so regeneration for healthier hair and from another time, healthier hair from another time, meaning like a younger, you know, younger time, I guess, if you want to put it that way. But or also, and the master template. All right, so they're, I guess, divine master template, their blueprint for when we had perfect hair. You know, so that's what I've been applying is their divine master template, and apply it to what is, and just overlay it to go back to that. So then the regeneration process is the same as whatever the one that we just did for nervous system. Essentially, just do the same protocol, and then there could be several master cells, but just intend all master stem cells that you're in and upgrading, and then yeah, essentially get the regeneration. So you're going to.
Can I ask why we do it from a younger time? I'm just curious. I think that's the first time we've used a younger time.
Yeah, you know what? And I don't want to really use that word. So so from a perfect, let's just say from, I'm just going to say perfect, I guess. And I don't even need to say time. I don't even like that either. Yeah. So I'm just going to say from the divine master template to 100%. Yeah. So yeah, that's better. Thanks to you. Yeah, going back to our own divine master template, and highest and best from God source. Put that in there too, up to 100%. And then going into the stem cell, master stem cell, regenerating all the areas, the absorption organelle, elimination organelle, DNA organelles, mitochondria, all places, spaces, nucleus, membrane, everything in there, and then activate mitochondria. And then mirror, okay, oops, can't see it. Match all cells. Hair cells.
And do you get that so like maybe someone wants thicker hair on their head, but not anywhere else on their body? Do you sense that you need to specify?
Definitely, yeah.
Right. Okay. Because if it says match all hair cells,
Right. Okay, good. In the area intended. Yeah, good. Oh, yep. Yeah, that's good, because you might want to have a healthier scalp hair. Yep. But not so much on your arms anymore. Or in your nose, right? So maybe we could put that down here. Nose hairs, ear hair.
But so that's a different thing than than a strengthening.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes, it would be. But I guess it depends on what you're looking at. I mean, this hair could, maybe maybe you're just doing chin hair for somebody or something. They don't want to mess with anything else, I guess. I don't know. But you could just do the DNA programs around that then or something, and then just do the, the emotions, the thought forms and all the stuff, and curses, obviously dark energies are involved here.
Mhm.
And then just do regeneration of the facial hair, something.
Right. Yeah. I'm just thinking about a client who maybe has chin hair or nasal hair, doesn't want that, is uncomfortable, or the beard goes too high, but light up here and needs thicker hair. Right. So it's like, is that a couple of different processes? Because what I'm saying is some you want to minimize and some you want to strengthen. Or am I making it too complicated in my head?
No, it would be separate. These could be all, I mean, you could do the DNA for all this stuff, but yeah, depending on what you're going for, maybe maybe you've got some extra curses here. Okay, you've got curses, but now maybe you need to add demonic curses, evil spirit curses, depending on chin hair, whatever extra hair we've been given in different.
But would we want to do the blueprint for that, for if they don't want it?
I
That's
think
where I'm
she's
getting a
trying
little.
to get at like how to make the clearing statement, like, or the intention be clear that you want to, maybe somewhere around the word optimizing, like the intention, like you want the hair in the right places in the right quality. So that's what I think you're asking, Dia, is how to make sure that we're requesting, we want the hair on the head, not in the nose or on the forearms.
Right.
You need to specify that in the statements, maybe, is I think what she's wondering.
Yeah.
Not necessarily add new things to clear, but like, how do we make that intention?
Or do we do two separate clearings? One is regeneration and strengthening, and then another batch is taking away, right? Like if I want to get my age spot gone, that might be different than something else I do with my skin, where I want to plump up my skin, right? So is it two different? I mean, I guess we play with it, but I was just wondering what the experience was that you've had, Marlene, or anyone else.
Yeah, I would do it totally separate.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, because what can you concentrate on all at the same time? I'm like, I want hair here, I don't want it there. I want it here, I want it, I was like, what are you gonna, my concentration can only kind of go on one area, one thing I'm doing at a time, I guess, is what I would do. Yeah. So if I want to get rid of hair, I'm going to do that separately than growing hair.
But when you're getting rid of it, I guess the other piece is, are you doing the divine blueprint so it's less?
Yeah, well, I'm coming back to, and I guess that's what that younger time, I guess what I put that on there, but my my perfect master template does not have chin hair in it. I wasn't born with, I wasn't born that way. It was something that came around age 50 that, now that's in my DNA, right? So, and then there's bloodline, right? Because he could have had an aunt that was all hairy or something.
So you could do the perfect time that they envision when they felt, oh, it was all balanced and thick and thin or whatever.
Yeah.
And do that in one thing, or you would separate out perhaps.
Yes. And I guess that's what that younger time was, if you can, like in my 20s, I had gorgeous hair, nails, everything was perfect,
So, okay. So couldn't you do that with organs and glands and all that as well?
Yeah, you certainly can.
If they remember a healthy time, or we muscle test when your systems were working well.
Yeah, and really where that is, it's when we were a fetus. It was right before we were born. Everything was 100% perfect. Everything was perfect. We hadn't,
But you don't do it that back. You were saying like your perfect master time was whatever your hair was, like 20 something. So you're not going back to in utero.
Well, no, and so, and that bringing in that master divine template then is the key to me, because that's my perfection, whatever that happens to be. So in my mind's eye, then if the person is saying, hey, my hair is just, just really got thin and drab,
Sorry.
then we're actually seeing this person with beautiful, full, bouncy hair, just gorgeous on her face, and you can just see how her face just lights up, and she's just gorgeous, and so you can see that. But she didn't look like that as a baby. She maybe had real thin hair, maybe a different color or something when she was a baby. So bringing in a time, I guess, is just dependent on, what it is that you're going for, and then what it is that you're seeing it and what the client wants. What do you want, but it would be the perfection of the color. I mean, you could have the perfect color that I used to have, or, and that's, by the way, what I'm trying to do with my hair too, is for the color to, and I've noticed, just for having my intention there and clearing out the different things here that, to clear, I've noticed that some hair that in areas, just certain areas, of course, like, around the temples or wherever the gray comes up, I have actually noticed dark hair coming through in certain places where it was just pretty much all gray. So I think I'm gaining some headway here with the color. So using myself as the case study in this situation, but definitely a lot of DNA, a lot of bloodline stuff, and amplification around curses. And
Marlene, it's Jody.
hi, Jody.
Hey, what about all these men that went bald in their 20s?
Yeah,
What happened there?
well, bloodline and curses for sure.
I have like two of my best guy friends are both bald, and they went bald in their 20s.
Yeah,
DNA programming, right? So
DNA for sure. Yep, and bloodline, and satanic curses, and I wonder if cycles or patterns would be in there. Timelines for sure.
Is there any way to reverse baldness, you think?
Well, I believe so.
Hmm.
If you can grow new organs, you can grow, new teeth. You should be able to grow new teeth. I haven't really given it my all to test it. I think I should really start in on testing that, but we are able to regrow parts. So I believe you can. I'm getting a yes. I don't know anybody else.
I feel like it's more, for some reason, it's more complicated than the organs, which is a weird thing. You would think it would be like to regrow liver is amazing how quickly it grows. Amazing. But hair, not so much. Very interesting. Be cool to kind of look into it. And I'm going to have to say goodbye because I have a client at 2:00.
Okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
yeah. Nice
Okay.
to have you here.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye, dear.
Bye.
Enjoy your
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
there's hormones involved too, right? Just to Dia's point, like organs, well, there's all kinds of chemistries involved in everything, but yeah,
Right. So,
nutrients and
so hormones. Yep. Nutrients. That's good. Yeah. Yep. So chemistry of some sort. For sure. And that's that melanin, that melanin chemical for color. And it's too, it has to do with being, in your prime, right? So you need this beautiful hair to get a guy, right? In your 20s. But you don't need it so much in your 50s or so the story goes, I guess. So obviously that's a perception issue too, but something that we've been forced to maybe
Yeah, like aging programs and stress. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So let's just kind of
Or attractiveness, or like whatever the primal function of the human at that age is,
yeah.
We're in our power now. We should be focusing less on reproducing and more on something else, I guess, as we age. But it's not necessarily aging. We have to focus on our, our luminosity, our power, so.
Yeah.
We need our hair for that too, though.
Right.
There's cultural beliefs around hair too, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah, very good, because gals are supposed to have the long hair when they're maidens or whatever. Yeah. But then it's okay to just go to hell after you captured your guy or something, or after you had your kids or whatever. So having kids has done something to people's hair too. Childbirth.
Yeah.
And hair, because I know it sucks the calcium or whatever out of your teeth. Maybe it does something to your hair too, or just pregnancy. It doesn't have to be childbirth, I guess. Pregnancy, hair. Yeah, but what is it though? It's that too is more of a dark energy. So yeah, let's go back to, well, just how about entities? I don't know if we check for entities or not. Entity attachments. Because if we have these very often, we can certainly start looking tired and old. Because that's what they do, right? That's what they'll suck your life force. They'll suck your whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So anything else? Anybody see a reason why we change, why our hair changes over time? Well, of course, the hair preparations and chemicals, and so that I guess you're going to want to
Can educate about that, right? But
yeah, I think you're going to need to, so I don't know where to put all this, but nutrients and yeah, I guess hair products, natural, without the sodium lauryl sulfate, all that sudsing and so forth.
yeah.
Yeah, paraffins and all that, chemicals. But
There's also things like EMFs do affect, especially the face and the head. I know, it'll affect everything, but if you're sitting at a screen or with a phone, the thing that's most in contact is that part, and it does impact I know in Ayurveda, that doctor, he would talk about the channels, which it's like meridians, but in Ayurveda, they call it nadis. So it fries them, it burns them, so that like you need some kind of cooling, moist, like pathways. Everything gets fried by the electromagnetic fields, electromagnetic radiation. So that's causing some changes just in our culture, in our society as we move forward in time, right? But I'm also thinking like the activity of the brain, like as we age, there's a lot more worry, stress, thoughts, processing, potentially. I feel like that, like a lot of mental activity stressful mental activity, basically. If there was all joy, it'd be a different story.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then I've got water quality here too,
Yeah, right.
depending on if you filter your water, and then shower, your shower filter. For sure. We've got a nice filter on our shower, and oh boy, I can tell the difference. Can't smell any chlorine anymore or nothing, like, you know, what it was. So, so yeah, all those external things that you can do yourself, obviously. Yeah. And what a, okay, I'm sure this is part of the mind. Where would this be for somebody who has, who's just given up, like in their mind is like, I'm not pretty, I'm not attractive, you know, I'm just plain Jane, and I'm fine with that. I guess that's who I am. So I'm just going to accept that my stuff's not going to look, you know, full of light and luster. So I don't know what you would call that. Just
Like depression almost, you know, but depressive, low self-esteem thoughts.
yeah.
Again, I feel like that goes to like hormones and neurotransmitters almost too, right? Like, but you mean it more in the belief system,
Yes, like a kind
like
of a
creating that for yourself.
yeah, hopeless, plain
I'm
Jane.
not this way, therefore I won't have these things. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, yeah, so kind of a depressed moods, yeah. Yeah, because I remember one time I went to get my hair, the highlights or whatever, and this was a few years back, and my guy had moved out of state, so I was in that process of trying to find somebody else, and this person, they didn't get the color right. As a matter of fact, they kind of got it so screwed up that they actually had to dye the whole head one color, and they wanted to start over. Well, they did, but I was so depressed about the color that they made it. It's like, oh my God, they took my pretty away. They stole my pretty. And I was so like, I didn't even want to look in the mirror. I didn't want to, it's like, this is horrible. You know, this is not me. This is not me.
Yeah, it really changes your feeling state, right? Your whole aura probably changed if someone could have seen you.
I wonder if you could do a beauty program, now that you're talking about all that, for women, where they work on their getting rid of all the entities, discarnates and all that releases this vibrancy. And then it works on their hair, their skin, their nails, all the stuff that means to us, that makes us feel pretty.
Yeah.
It's funny you should say that, Jody, because I just had a thought this past week. I've worked in the medical aesthetic arena for years in injectables and skincare. And I thought of approaching some of the key medi spas that I've worked with to see if they want to do an inner beauty program, like sort of radiance from the inside out. And and see if they could almost present themselves as cutting edge, like it would provide them with a differentiating factor, like, hey, we can do the inside stuff as well and be seen as a clinic that does that. It'd be pretty out there, but I thought I'd see if they're open to it.
I like that word, radiance.
Radiance from the inside out.
That's a good,
You know, when a woman walks in the room and she's got that glow and she's doing the other stuff, like there's nothing wrong with fashion or beauty. Like it's not vanity. Like if she's taking care of her skin or all that stuff, it's so beautiful. But then on top of that, when she's got that glow and she walks in a room, and it's like, whoa, that's overkill beauty and radiance. It's so lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, and they can still look, they can still have a few wrinkles. It doesn't matter. They got it, right? They got it, whatever that it is, just glows from them. Yeah. And that's something that those med spas can do virtually, obviously. So if there's issues with getting enough people in there and they're kind of revenues are down because they're not getting the amounts of people like they used to, that's something that they could send out to their clients and offer as a virtual service in between their appointments or whatever. Yeah, that's a great idea, Margot. Yeah, so you guys try this on yourselves and get your nails and hair all, maybe take before and afters too. And
Well, you saw the difference in me from February to November. She started working on me. I don't know, Tracy, if you knew this story, but I had Epstein-Barr since I was around maybe 8 years old and didn't realize it. And Marlene worked infections clearing in 2019. And I looked completely different from February to November.
yes, you did.
Like my whole skin was so puffed out. I looked like my dad used to call me Toad because I had little chubby cheeks. And they all called me Toad. My high school friends still call me Toad. And that picture made me think I'm Toad again because I had those puffy cheeks. And then after the Epstein-Barr clearing, my cheeks went down.
Wow.
So I sent that picture to Marlene, and we all looked at it like, wow,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you look completely different.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of stuff happen for me in a year's time. I need to write a testimonial.
Oh, thank you, Jody. Yeah, and too, that's one of the first things I noticed was your hair in the after picture was, wow, she's got a really nice, full body hair, right? And then I glanced over to the before and I'm like, wow, there's a difference there.
Yeah.
Thinner and just kind of.
I think I was inflamed. There's something about the inflammation that I don't know if I guess we've addressed it. But the lymph system keeps coming up, like I told you last week.
Yeah.
So I had inflammation in my body. So I wonder if there's something to that with the radiance, Margot.
Oh yeah, big time, me too. Yeah, that inflammation irritated getting that out, and then there's room for, I just picture more hydration and good skincare stuff.
So Jody, you didn't have like an activated symptom like Marlene, your client Elizabeth has, right? But you can see Jody, her issues might have been more internal, right? The inflammation you can't see, or you could see the cheeks and the hair, but you didn't do it for that reason, but you knew you had the virus, right? I have the same thing.
I knew I had Epstein-Barr, but I didn't know that it was still latent in my body, causing me.
You don't know what it's doing.
Yeah, it's doing like a low level of chronic fatigue.
Yeah, I have that too. So for Marlene, Elizabeth she's having active sores that are, coming out through the skin, through the nerve pathways. So I'm just saying, like, you can think of Jody as being like someone to guide it will work. It may just take her more time to get a handle on the symptoms that are activated right now or come out of a cycle where she's getting re-triggered all the time.
Yeah.
But and maybe it's easier when people don't have a symptom showing up in that way. But that's a great story, Jody. So yeah, it's doing it, right? So it's the same. I mean, all the herpes viruses are different, but they're also similar, right? So.
And to meet somebody else that had a severe case of Epstein-Barr, and it made them lose like 100 pounds. Mine never did that. Mine was just more like mono, chronic fatigue, This other person I met lost 100 pounds with Epstein-Barr. So there's some really virulent strains of it.
Things. Yeah. It probably does a lot of different things, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, and the older you are, the more mild the strain is. It's just gotten morphed over time and has gotten stronger and stronger. So, younger people nowadays, they may have a rougher time with it. Unfortunately, it's the way.
What I think about is just imagine me right now today, had I not met Marlene and come to the retreat, I would still be in this chronic fatigue place that I'm not in this year at all. And so I feel like the quantum was like life changing, because if I don't have energy, I can't run my business.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any energy. So it's really, that's big for all of us women who work, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I know. So there could even be a businesswomen's clearings.
It sure could.
That you could put a package together for. And of course, they're going to want the beauty part of it too. What businesswoman wouldn't want that, you know? Most would, I think. Yeah. So you could include, that would be really cool. So you can have the beauty side of it, then you can have the clearing for success or confidence or whatever it is that they're going for. I think that would be, so many opportunities and ways to package things. And
That's a good idea, isn't it?
and clients that you could go after. So business women's package. So you've got the beauty and the brains or whatever.
I'm sorry I haven't had my video on at all today. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Now we can see you. Yeah.
yeah.
The radiance package, right? Radiance, confidence.
The radiance. That's a good word.
I
That's a
really
good
like
word.
that.
Yeah. Powerful.
I think I even actually used that before a few years back. I put together a package, and you probably even heard, I've seen this online now, the quantum facelift.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody else is using that term now. I think once it's out there in the ethers and you don't use it, somebody else, the idea is still there, right? It was meant for somebody to do something with it. If you get the information, you got to use it. Otherwise, it's still out there and someone else can grab that information out of there.
I had heard that at one of my women's retreat, that when you get the idea to like write a book, which I did, you know, I had this idea to write this book, and she's like, you need to do it, because as soon as you don't do it, someone else grabs it because it's out there.
Yes. Yep. It was given to you. You plucked it out of the ethers, like, okay, take it and run fast. You know? While it's still yours, you know, or your opportunity. Yep. Yeah, because that happened to another guy. I guess he was composing something, is getting all this wonderful downloads, notes and music, and he thought it wasn't perfect. So he just spent months and months trying to perfect it. And then he turns on the radio or whatever one day, and there's his song. Somebody else come out with the song, you know?
Oh, I've had people steal stuff from me because, you know, I went to this training, but I didn't promote it. And then they went to the training and they promoted it. And I just realized that I just didn't speak up enough back then,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. I know. So it says money loves speed.
Speed. That's right.
Or success, or whatever you want to consider it to be. But yeah, love speed. And good enough is good enough. Perfection is not required. It's better that you get it out there and then tweak it, as they say, like you build the plane as you're flying it. I guess that's a Lisa Sasevich quote. Build the plane as you're flying. Yeah, so definitely just throw the package together. And if there's something that you forgot to put in there, all right, well, now just add it. You know, your clients will tell you. And that's the thing, is that you might think it has to be this, but then your clients are going to say, well, you heard so-and-so say it, now somebody else is like, okay, well, maybe that's got to be in there. Enough people think that's important too. But nobody really cared about the whatever part. So, you know, chuck that, you know, I was just thought I had.
And while we're talking about, like, you're the anti-aging specialist, why do people, you and I've talked about this, like siblings look older than us, or like they always thought my sister was my mom's sister instead of my sister, you know? So I wonder if it's different parts of the country, or is it the mindset of the different parts of the country?
They're buying into, if it was good enough for my grandparents, it's good enough for me, I believe, because I see the same picture. There was a funeral for my uncle a couple, 3 months back. And my sister took a picture of my cousins. These are my same age, pretty much cousins. And they all had a good 30, 40 pounds more than me. Although they were never big to begin with. When we were growing up, we were all about the same size, you know. So they're overweight, and they've let their hair go gray, some of them, and you know, just big dresses, like, you know, tent dress or something. You kidding me? You couldn't just maybe put your hair back or do anything? You just, you know.
But like my sister, like if we could just, I mean, I don't know if you'll mind me asking this, but I went home to see my sister's daughter get married, and my sister's let her hair grow really long and it's really gray. And that's fine, but it doesn't bother her.
Yeah.
But she used to wear her hair shorter and everything, but it's aged her about 20 years. The look she has right now, she's aged 20 more years.
Yeah.
But people thought that she was my mom's sister. And so it hurts her feelings. And I can see why it would.
Yeah.
But I don't really know where to even start with her. You know what I mean? If I even do it behind the scenes for my sister.
Well, yeah. So bloodline is big, right? And you know, they were of a time when you couldn't really do anything. You didn't, you know, maybe they didn't have hair color a couple generations ago, or nothing you could really do about the products or whatever. You know, they didn't have anything but soap and water, you know. So,
But I mean, some people like to just go all natural, right? Like some people want to just. I've got a friend that wants to be gray. That's what she wants. She does not want to color her hair.
yeah, and you know, maybe too, there's people who look great. I mean, if they were blonde and now they're gray, I mean, it's just natural progression. They got it made, right?
Right, right. Like
well-
it's kind of, I mean, I've got gray. Y'all can't see it because my hair's so dark, but I've got gray coming in on my part right here. I'll be 50 in 2 months.
Mhm.
So, you know, the gray's there in the bloodline and the DNA, you know,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
maybe I'm hopefully pushing it back.
Yeah. Exactly. So do definitely do the DNA clearings, and see if you got it to 100%. Because I'm getting it. I haven't gone through this with a fine tooth comb.
Okay.
Of course, I know I need to do this myself before promoting it, I think, and seeing what kind of results I get. Because, I mean, I just started thinking about not having the gray come through and changing it. Okay, let's go back to the darker color. Let's go back to the darker color. That's all I've done. Okay, that's it. And it's starting to work though. So that's as far as I've gotten to with the gray stuff. But
Tracy, did you say you had Epstein-Barr as well?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you might want to do, we didn't figure it out until Marlene did infections clearing, and I went to her retreat last year
Yeah.
in Scottsdale. It's where I met Margot and Lainey and Jan, and we were at her retreat in person. And then we figured out it was infections.
Yeah.
So that might be something you might want to do.
I feel I've done like I think we've done 2 rounds, and I forget where I am now, but yeah, I definitely, I want to work on that more. And I don't really like to go, I don't get blood work done anymore. And usually they don't really test for that anyway. But yeah, I'm sort of working on infections all over. Like I'm actually talked with Marlene the other day, and we're working on sort of some infections in my teeth, which I noticed last time I had a big flare up. It happened because I had some dental work done. So I had some amalgams removed, and I totally like fell apart for about 2 years. So
I did too, the amalgams removal.
yeah, so I still have one amalgam, you know, from when I was 23 and I'm 60. So like that still has to get out of there. But in the meantime, I kind of was just scrapping it together to get my health back. And it sort of made my thyroid issues flare up. And I really think it's all just driven by that Epstein-Barr virus. I've had a lot of different things, even that headache that I get. I think different things. I think it's in the nervous system and stuff like that. So we're working to clear that, but I'm not done. Work in
Tell you
progress.
what, that amalgam and that Epstein-Barr together is deadly. Like it's wearing you out. That's what it was doing to me.
Yeah,
And I got
exactly.
all that out of my mouth. It changed my whole life.
Yeah, and I couldn't ever, this is what I was saying earlier in the thing, like doing anything, like it would be really destabilizing. So I could only do
Mhm.
one thing at a time, then it takes a few years to get over it, right? I still have one amalgam in there, but then COVID-19, and I was like, I'm not going back to the dentist right now. But
Right.
in the meantime, I'm still working to clear the infections and everything else, right? So it's sort of hard. It's like, that's the main driver, I think, for me. So working on that and get the immune system strong enough to kill infections, you know? So,
That medical medium guy, what's his name? You said
yeah, Anthony Williams. Yeah.
Boy,
Yeah.
he talks a lot about Epstein-Barr.
Yeah. And that always really made sense to me. Like it didn't make sense to me the way other people talked about it. As you know, when you first were talked to, probably nobody talked about it. They all told me I was depressed or, you know, had Lyme disease or different things. And I just stopped. you know,
Yeah.
going to
I
the
did
doctor.
too. Marlene is the one, we figured it out. And
Yeah.
my doctor couldn't figure it out for 3 years, you know,
Yeah.
or actually more than 3 years, but 3 years I felt horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and they told me I had MS.
Yeah.
You know, same.
Which I
Because
think is a common thing. Yeah.
It was because what happened to me is this part of my face went numb for 10 days.
Oh, wow.
But I attributed it to eventually that I wore this really heavy purse always on this arm. And I haven't worn a purse since then. Not at all. I don't do purses anymore. But since then, because somebody kind of traced on my back where that nerve was, and that eventually it made this whole area go numb. But they put me through the CAT scans and all those stuff, MRIs, and they said I had MS. But I just stopped wearing heavy purses and got massages and different things like that, and it went away. So I haven't had any symptoms since. But yeah, and I think it's because, well, they said I had white spots on my gray matter. That's why they said I had MS. So what's the white spots on my gray matter? Was that the Epstein?
Probably.
Actually,
I think it is. That's what
Yeah.
I'm getting. It just was
Yeah.
completely came in as yes.
Yeah. That's my big thing would be like, I just want my brain function to be strong and healthy and nervous system to be strong, healthy, right? I think the other pieces will come back together too. So I trace it all back to the viral thing.
Don't you think you probably caught that, Tracy, when you were a girl?
Oh
Small
yeah.
girl?
Like when I was 4, they actually put, yeah, anyway, they put crowns on my baby teeth when I was 4 years old, like, which would have been amalgams, like crowns on temporary teeth. Like, I don't know what's, before you're even old enough to fend for yourself. So I feel like everything's been kind of recovering from things people did to you in your best interest, whether it's your parents or dental or medical people, right? So, and then anyways, it's a series of things, but my mom was sick and she died. And when she died, I kind of started having a lot of immune system problems. I got a very bad pneumonia at 27, which I think now is the cytomegalovirus. And then I was in graduate school and I couldn't stay awake. And it was like, well, I have 3 jobs and I'm in school. But then the woman there tested me for Epstein-Barr. So that wasn't till I was 29 that they told me I had something. But in the meantime, started having terrible sinus things and like cramps in the muscles of my neck. And I stopped going to see doctors. And, then I started getting involved in health and healing back then. But it was a slow progression, to find out what to eat, what to do. And I ended up having endometriosis. I ended up having, a cancer, like ovarian cancer. Anyway, there were a lot of traumas in the life. My sister was dying. All kinds of things were constantly there, triggering the stress aspect, right?
Yes.
But, and actually, I don't think I ever had cancer, to tell you the truth. I feel like I had I know I got attacked from something because it was bizarre how something happened. But I got super sick after that. And that was like 12 years ago, but it took me like 4 or 5 years just to get enough health to say like, what's happening? Now I get sores in my mouth and headaches. And so it sort of activated the infection, right? So I felt like the infection's just been kind of trying to calm it down. But in the meantime, get my amalgams out. Like, that's what I mean. It's sort of like, it's just been a full-time job, just trying to keep it all going, and take some new steps to get healing. You know, I always say I'm the healthiest sick person that I know. Right? So, yeah. But I like
Tracy,
your, yeah.
Tracy, to give you feedback, since you
Yeah.
started, like just as an observer, that witnessing you too, like that luster and radiance has really shifted in you. You're like, your skin looks different. You have more fullness in your, like I don't know, it's like a youthful, full, youthful, like way more radiant. It's like there's just a different energy coming off you completely.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing, Margot. Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
Well, definitely take your picture because it's a huge difference.
Okay. I will. I'll have to. Yeah. I was going to say that I don't color my hair and I have gray, but it's actually getting less for sure. And I'll be 61 in a couple months, but I'm the youngest of my siblings, and like my other sisters, they've all been dyeing their hair since they were like 50. And they just look different. I mean, they just have more, I'm having a hot flash now, but they have more, and I used to say my own belief system was, oh, that's our skin. That's the Howard skin. We have that kind of dried apple, you know, kind of thing, even at, you know, 40. But they're also not involved in healing arts, or, you know, I've had more health challenges than they have. So you would think, but they don't really take care of themselves, right? They don't really eat right or care about that, except in the most basic way, right? So it'll change from sibling to sibling depending on what their mindset is and what their interests are, you know? So the good thing about my story is that this is what put me on my, you know, made sure I didn't divert from the path of healing.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
There's
Yeah.
the big gift from it all.
yeah, it's the whole wounded healer piece, right? So,
Yes.
You know, but for me, I wasn't going to do it this lifetime. And for me, it was somebody said, somebody told me that you can't do this and that your muscle testing is all off. You don't know what you're doing. I go, someone said that? I don't know who would have said that. What? Yeah. And so I wasn't going to be included in this year's training. So it was going to be, you can come back next year, whatever. And I'm like, what? I didn't fly all the way here for you to be told that. As a matter of fact, so to me, it was like, that was the fuel under my, it's like, no, you're not going to tell me I don't know anything and just to go home. This is not happening only because I haven't shown you. I haven't shown you. That's all, you know, you have no clue. Right. So then it came up to, okay, well, test your brain. What's the brain stem? And I came up with, I don't know, whatever, 92%. Then the, you know, amygdala, blah, blah, blah. I had all 5 areas correct, 100% correct to what the teacher got to. And then it was like, really? My muscle testing is what? Should I go home now? Because nobody else got it wrong. I was the only one who got 100% correct to what the teacher, you know, also tested for, right?
And
So,
that just shows you a little bit of her issue. Like, she wasn't ready for you to be up there yet. She wanted to still be in charge of all that instead of just letting it, you know what I mean? There's that mentor teacher thing that happens, and she wasn't the mentor anymore because now you were her equal.
yeah.
And that's very much your gift, Marlene. Yeah, as a teacher, you're not afraid of your students shining and being competent, but that is a gift you have, because many teachers will keep their students small.
They will. I've seen it as a professor. I've seen it with my old professors that taught me, and now I've been teaching for 25 years, and they're like, but she's still my graduate assistant. And I'm like, but I've been teaching for 25 years. You know, it's a long time to be teaching, to still be called someone graduate assistant, you know? And I'm like, hey, I'm an adult woman. I'm 50 years old, you know? I'm not 25 anymore. So there are teachers that'll hold you down. They don't want you to go up.
Yeah, so it must be
That's
something,
insulting.
I guess, yeah, like a competition kind of thing maybe, or
Was it your teacher who told you that your muscle testing was not okay?
yeah,
And that you really weren't okay to do that?
that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, she
That
probably
seems
felt
like
threatened.
what a crazy thing to say. Anyway, even if, let's say that was true, which it wasn't apparently. Yeah, it's just a sign that, like,
Yeah, it's
and
ego.
anyway. Yeah, and I've taught for a long time too, and I appreciate, Margot, you're pointing that out. I want to reiterate, yeah, you know, Marlene is such a gift because you're just so open to sharing and hearing from all of us, treating us as if you're equal. And I mean, I'm saying that not because we are all equal. Some of us have more experience doing whatever we're doing, and
Yeah.
we respect your experience, and we're all here to learn, and that you're open to making it just a beautiful share, you know, and a beautiful circle of energy that has no, you know, there's no domination here, no domination, suppression, or control, right? So,
Right.
Yes. My intention is for everyone to, you know, go to the maximum of their capabilities and past that, you know, I mean, that's because I can't do all this myself and I don't want to. And I know that there's, you know, if we spread out, you know, we all hit different, maybe the beauty program for Margot or whatever for, you know, for somebody else. But, you know, we'd be covering a lot of base and bringing awareness and consciousness back to the masses who've been in the dark, right? So it's, and it's not just us, there's other groups and teams and stuff, so forth, just like us, are similar, that are learning new things and going out there and doing the same thing. So it's snowballing now. It used to be like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. Where now you say things like to a group, just like a mainstream type marketing group that I attended last week. It was just kind of a one-off thing. And we did a virtual marketplace type thing where you would sell your $20 deal or whatever. And so I did that, I participated, and it was a reading, like how hydrated are you, and what, you know, reading your organs, right? So that were affected by hydration and stuff. And people are like, oh, I've never heard that. How do you, you know, and that was I don't want to say the majority, but I would say maybe over half said that. They had no clue that they even had a, you know, spiritual side of them or whatever, right? So, but I will say the other half were either open to it or, you know, yeah, you know, they get it, or they've heard of Reiki, or they've heard of something, you know. So we're waking up more than we had before, when before nobody knew what you were talking about, you know. So,
And that the body communicates, like the body will tell you what's going on.
yeah.
The body will tell you how much hydration you have. You'll just have to learn how to listen to it.
Yes. So tuning in.
That's what we're out of touch with, is we don't listen to ourselves.
Yeah, well, if your spirit's up here and you're mental, you know, then how do you know that your knee feels whatever, you know, or the messages that you're getting?
well, I come from a family that I'm just thinking of a story. I remember one time, you know, somebody who I was learning something from, and I recognized it as truth. And my sister said, well, why do you believe that guy? It's like, because I recognize truth when I hear it. Like, you know, but my family is like, no, it didn't come from, you know, the TV or some source that is some kind of authority that they agree upon as an authority, you know. So being your own authority, which is one of the early things you were talking about, is so essential, and trusting yourself, and, you know, the idea that the body communicates, and you don't even have to know muscle testing to be able to tell a few things about your body, you know. And but a lot of people they're just either not in their bodies, or they're just, you know, up here, maybe not even in the full head. Just,
Yeah, can you imagine living a full life like that, and then just going to the grave and that was it? That was your life?
yeah.
It was somebody else's life apparently, because you didn't do what you didn't do you did something that you were told by somebody else.
Yeah, they're not present. They're not there.
Yeah, it's sad, but we're here to change all that. Woohoo! I don't know if I went to the nails part of it, but the last slide on here to regenerate was the nails. You're going to clear the root of the nail, and then any illnesses of the nails, like if there's white spots or, you know, ridges or whatever it is. And then you're going to pull the master template for nails into the regeneration process. So that was the only other thing I had on this slide here. So I'm going to close this.
That's great. I was getting most of my nails were getting ridges. I know it's some kind of, well, I was thinking it was some kind of deficiency, but but I noticed just now that you mentioned it, they're getting less ridgy. So everything we do affects everything too, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and I was wearing I would had these slippers, but the toes weren't open toe; it was a closed toe. And then my realization after a while was, don't put your feet right out of the shower into these slippers because they can grow a fungus, right? A toenail fungus, which it did. Like this was like a year ago or better, and I'm like, what in the world? So I toenail thing. I was like, how? So then I did the fungus clearing on myself, and I was reading, places of what to do and so forth. They're like, it's really hard. Once you have it, it just keeps continuing to grow in the nail bed. There's nothing you can do because topical stuff, you can't get in there, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, that's a real downer, telling people there's nothing you can do. But I did the fungus clearing and it grew. It was still there, but it grew out so that I could eventually just clip it off and boom, it was gone. Never came back.
Well, because I think the classic, health, thinking is that it's like an internal thing, like a yeast overgrowth, or like it's so difficult to get rid of because the whole body has to get cleansed. And then, so I love that. Is that part of the infection clearing, the fungus?
Yeah. And I didn't even realize I was doing it to myself.
No.
But when I did it for the whole group, the live stream I put on, fungal clearing, I put myself on the list, so I'm including myself in all the clearings. But I had no idea that I was actually clearing the toenail, and I was starting to see it because I'm in yoga, so you got to look down at your feet all the time. And I'm like, wow, look at it. It looks like it's moving up. It's moving up. And eventually I could just clip it off and it was gone, So, yeah, so I don't wear slippers, I mean, I have like open toe slippers now, but,
I like that reminder, Marlene, to put ourselves on the healing list whenever we're doing work with people.
Yeah, exactly. And you can keep separate, but you can at the same time, or for like a group, you can connect the group with like a green circle, around all our crowns, to connect everyone by their crown with a green circle, but then disconnect at the end. But it just depends how you feel about that or how you do it. I don't know, but how you intend to put everybody in the same clearing. But yeah, I always add my name to that list. I have the master list, and then I'm clearing that master list. It's usually a spreadsheet, and I have that whole spreadsheet open while I'm doing the clearings, and I clear for everybody, and then I just kind of check each person. Oh, you're 80%. Oh, this one's not going so well, and I'll zero in on what's going on with them or something. But yeah, Margot, no, I don't think so. I don't get it. No. Message, yeah. So any other questions? I know we're almost up to.
Oh, I've got a question. I've got a question about that email I sent. Julie Renee was doing that DNA something, and you said we are not doing that anymore.
Oh,
what was that?
Oh, reaffirming. She wanted to reaffirm her DNA.
Oh, okay.
And somebody else responded back. Margot, did you respond back to that, or was that you?
Yeah, it was me. It was sort of even in today when you were taking out the word program, just being really mindful with the thought forms or words around reprogramming any DNA programs, or not programs. Just that reminder that it's not even so much the DNA that we want to focus on, it's the environment in which the DNA, that's what's going to create the DNA expression, is the environment within which it lives. So like Tracy was saying, all of this stuff, if we're shifting the environment, that too is going to shift the DNA. So it's like always holding the intention for the highest blueprint. That's kind of like the matter to matter thing I was talking about, like the energy to the matter to change the DNA itself. Is if we focus too much on the DNA, the actual matter of it, it's not going to shift. But if we focus on the environment or the energy within we suspend the DNA and then clear it and fill it with gold light and let it do its own thing with perfect divinity, it will shift in the quantum. So I think some people are really working on manipulating, or their language is manipulating the DNA itself. I don't know. That was my take on it.
Yes. Yes. Mhm.
I don't know about this, so you can fill me in. I'm missing a few pieces here, but the idea is someone's doing something about reaffirming DNA, and you're saying that we're not doing that here. We're just clearing DNA, removing faulty.
Jody had
Okay.
an email from somebody, healing session that she was going to do for people. And then she said that she got that all along, that one thing that she's not, how we said about replenishing or putting back in the beauty and the perfection and the love and whatever. Well, she came up with that she doesn't feel that she's been affirming, that she needs to reaffirm the DNA programs or something, or I don't know if she used the term programs, but to reaffirm the DNA after she's done all the clearings.
Oh, I see. Sounds complicated.
I
Yeah.
don't like the word anything, really, and even because that indicates that it's recycle. You're going to go back to, so I've even been like trying to change those words too as much as possible. Instead of release, I use let go.
Yeah. Yeah, is sort of implies an old thing that's still there, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what I was getting at too when I just made a response to that. I won't reaffirm anything, and plus the fact that that there's someone I know that has no DNA, 0. She tested, and they came back and said, and it was a friend of hers that worked in a medical facility that says, yes, I can get your DNA tested. She had it tested. It came back. They're saying, we must have done the test wrong. We need you to do it again because we're not finding it here, or something's not showing up. And so she took the test again. Again, the same thing happened. This time they said, we can't find your results. And they just kind of left it at that, and they wouldn't really give her her test results. But she already knows that she doesn't have any, and I get, does she have any? I get no. And here's how it is that we, with this ascension or whatever you want to call it, we're getting away from the DNA programs. We're we are going from the 2 strands up to the 12 strand, right? I mean the 2 double thing, whatever. We're going up to the 12, but once you get the 12, then the connecting loop is the God spark. She calls it the Akira Zananda, the God particle. And once you're there, you're there. You don't need all this crap, right? I'm not affirming anything to 3D, duality. I'm not going backwards, that's not my plan. So the highest and best from God or source, whatever that happens to be right now, because things are changing. Maybe back in 3D, when we were in the 3rd dimension, maybe that would have been what we needed, but not so much anymore. If our plans are to go into 5D, then I don't, personally to me, I'm not going backwards. I'm going to just continue on with getting out of that matrix or whatever I feel is holding us in, into that box, right? All those programs stuffed in that box. Here you go. I'm not taking that. I'm not reaffirming that. Get away from me. But that is my take on it. But
So her idea was somehow the process needed another step to make it more effective, I guess, that was the idea.
Jody, is that what you got? I didn't read the whole.
I don't know. Something about the DNA, and I just saw that she was doing it for $9 for the whole community.
That's too bad, because for $9 you can get a lot of people.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The fact that a bunch of people are going to jump on there for $9, I don't know if that's good.
Yeah, it's a tripwire to get them to sign up for something else, obviously. But yeah, to give them the information that they've got to reaffirm. No, I don't know what it is. But anyway,
But Marlene, you're right about the
necessary, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like having to do something when you use words with the RE, you're redoing something that's already done.
Yep.
Well, I didn't sign up for it since you sent me that back, so I didn't.
Oh. Like, oh shit. I don't want to take.
No, I believe you. When you tell me stuff, I'm all over it.
Well, you muscle test it, and just see if it's right for you.
I just want to, while we're talking about the DNA, I'm thinking, and certainly can't count on my memory right now, but for this, but do you do group things with DNA like that? Like, it seems like working with DNA, like trying to do something for an entire group around DNA, it just seems fraught with potential, even if it's not this reaffirming thing, like, because that's a very specific work and it's just a lot of parts in the quantum, getting into the right place with the right intention.
That
I
to
mean-
me is I would say that that's not the correct topic or subject matter to do a $9 tripwire on. You're right, Tracy. That would be so more complex and yeah, because you really should have the person's permission to do their DNA. And yes, I suppose just by, buying it and signing up, that's their permission, but it could be real, yeah, it could be fraught with issues going in and tweaking things that.
Didn't you put that at the very end of our retreat? Like, we didn't even do DNA or timelines until this YBP2.
Exactly. We didn't even do it in the first one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I didn't mean that, like, not here, but like if you're doing it for a group of people, I don't think I've experienced it where you're doing that. You know, like clearing all these things for people as a group, because I mean, generally, this is what I meant earlier when I said I feel like I'm more stable than I was in the past. Like, normally large groups of things, I don't love that feeling for me, because I feel like I get a lot of stuff that it's not mine and I have to kind of clear it out and just whatever, keep straight. Now I don't feel so much like that anymore. But it's that kind of thing. Like, you might be getting other people's things, and I don't, the DNA level, you definitely don't want that, right? So
I generally clear programs, DNA programs.
yeah.
That's different. That's fine. You can just clear and send gold energy till the programs are clear. But then actually going into the strand and saying, okay, so let me see all the faulty, is there breaks here? And yeah, I mean, that can be involved and I think as a group program, you're going to be getting the 80-20, right? The 80%, whereas you could be getting the whole 100% if you're doing this as a private client, or, getting the whole package that you paid for. But going in as a group, you just paid the $200 or whatever it was to, you can't expect that, you're going to be getting the whole makeover thing for
I
that.
think, and that's a nice way, if you're doing a group, is to do maybe just a general program clearing, and letting them know. And I really believe in educating people as we go. Like, I'm finding some people are just like, oh, just clear me or just do it. But I like to help people understand what we're doing. So just in very basic terms, like, I'll clear these programs for the group, but know that we could do a one-on-one as follow-up for more in-depth work.
Yes, right. Yeah. And that's when I tell people on the live streams too, for, if you have a problem or an issue, you're going to be you'd benefit for a one-on-one session. Yeah.
And who doesn't have a problem or an issue?
Yeah, right. I know. They signed up for this course to begin with, or this training, or the whatever healing. Yeah.
I'm doing a 10-week higher self mastery series starting October 1st to carry light workers through to the end of this cray year. And so I'm going to do affirmative prayer, meditation, and quantum healing. So that's a good point. I'll use that in terms of not going too much into the DNA for the group. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you know what days those are going to be on, Margot? Days of the week?
Thursday evenings, 6:30 to 8 p.m. PST.
Thursday at 6:30 PST.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you send out another email to us? I don't know if I remember where I put that.
I'll send out a final just sort of announcement with that.
When does it start?
October 1,
Oh, okay. And it goes for 12 weeks?
10.
Oh, 10 weeks. Okay. Cool. All right. Very good. Okay, and we're kind of running out of time here, but just as I know Dia actually asked for, so she wanted just more clarification around ways to participate with your body power. I'll be getting with you guys offline here outside of this particular program. I know that this recording or whatever, but so I'll put that more together. I want to get with my web guy. I've got a couple questions for him as far as the capabilities of our software and, you know, and that kind of thing. So, and I've got a new website coming up and a lot of different things happening. Actually, I did talk to Iram from Heartache to Joy yesterday. I had a meeting with her, and I'm in her group to do her training, to do a summit. So she's talking to me. She said, you should just do energy healers. That's what your deal should be. And you know, and she's got a whole bunch of stuff coming up in her training that she's going to be imparting her wisdom and what works and so forth. So that's why I signed up for it, because I want to know what is it that works for her. How does she get her audience? How does she keep them captivated? How does she get them to want to buy the packages? And how does she get the information? I know she downloads stuff, you know, for the people. So if that's what you got to do, I've been downloading and channeling and so forth. So, so maybe that's what we do. I don't know, but anyway, her sales pages, you get the templates and her emails and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to be able to get the expert information right straight from the expert's mouth, right? In the actual category, industry, whatever, if you will, vertical that I am working in, right? So, I mean, you can get some coaches that can help you with this and that and this and that, but to get somebody who is the top dog, you know, in the industry, I think is going to be really, really helpful for that. So I'm going to be putting that together and then having you guys on as guests. So we'd be able to promote your packages through to the groups and stuff, so forth like that. So that can get you a start that way, so that other shows then will say, well, where have you been? You know, instead of saying nowhere, you're the first, then you can have, you know, you can have the sales page. You can show them, hey, this is what I did on this show. Here's my sales page, and, you know, other programs that I do, you know, this one, and then maybe at least have a couple choices or whatever of programs that you can do. So it might be a good idea just to kind of start thinking now of what program, here's the program word again, what product or package. And I was telling my web guy this too, is like, we're not doing programs. If I say it, don't do it. It's package or product. And so he's been replying back to me with package or product. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta keep my words about me here. So so yeah, so whatever packages you can put together and offers, right? So your own special offer and what would make sense, what would go into that, and then but also keeping it in line with that $200 mark to sell it, of course. But the idea behind that is that you make it up in volume, you know, and then you can do it as a group. So your $200, let's just say, just for ease of whatever, you sold 10, now you've got, you know, what, $2,000, right? So now you can do a program for 2,000 and spend the time on it, whereas, you know, for 200, I don't have the time to spend on all just for $200, right? So that's the idea behind that. And then you're getting clients that you didn't have to spend money to advertise to attract, right? So most people have an advertising budget that they put out Facebook ads, which get rejected and so forth. And thousands of dollars that's what she's done to get people onto her main list, right, for the show. But now she's already done that. So she's done the cherry picking, gotten to the people, and now they've actually are buyers. So you're getting a lead who's a buyer. It's a hot lead. There's nothing cold about it, you know? So yeah, you got them in at $200, but you didn't have to pay one nickel for marketing. So that's why I think it's a great vehicle to get people onto your list, and then these would be your customers. So anyway, my point is that the people that you attract, now they're your clients. They're, so you can promote whatever you want, do other programs, send emails and other offers and so forth. So so that's kind of how the ball gets going, and I'm really excited to be able to offer that to you guys.
Yeah, it feels like a very cool momentum has started. Thanks, Marlene, for that. I have to say bye to everyone. I have to leave at noon.
Yeah, we do too. I have to too. So I know
Much love to everyone.
Bye, Margot. I'll write to you, Margot. Yeah, bye.
Okay, take care.
Yeah, so be looking for email. I'll send out regarding all the stuff that I come up with in how we participate. But it's also with sessions too. So to do client sessions and to be able to do them as a Your Body Power expert, right? So you're still within the Your Body Power umbrella, representing the brand, if you will. And it's kind of like it's not a franchise, it's more of a co-branding kind of thing. Yes, you are independent, Tracy Howard, you're independent, healer. However, for this purpose of this client or whoever, you're under that, expertise of that umbrella. So, and then you're able to, along with the new website that's coming up, I have more packages and products that you're able to recommend. Okay, like, all right, so I see respiratory would be good package for you to go into. Okay, so here's the link. Once they buy it, then you're credited with that commission, if you will. But if you're working the whole, and you can just send people right and left, and if they buy it, great. But you can be then working with that client and work that package. So, okay, I'll buy the respiratory. Okay, great. So they get it. And then if it includes a session with you or whatever however you want to do it, you're doing the charting, the clearing, the regeneration, and the follow-up. So that would be your client to work. And, so most of the money there is yours. It's just off the top. It's going to be, a percentage for Your Body Power, because everything's coming through that platform, right? So, and the processing and everything. And then you get paid however you want it, PayPal or whatever you have, I would send you have your own dashboard in Infusionsoft Referral Partners program in that software. So you can just log in and see what your sales were and percentages and all that stuff. So that's all good.
Is there, we can talk about it more, but I don't know if there's like a commitment time frame issue there, or like how long that you need to people to commit to doing that if we are doing that with you, or how that, is there anything like that, like there's no kind of contract? I know there's not going to be a contract.
No.
in that way, right? But
no, I think it's people's lives change and things come up, and you think that you want to do it, but then 6 months down the road, you move somewhere, do something, whatever. That's whatever it is.
okay.
Thank you, whatever. But no, I don't want to get into that legal whatever.
Yeah, it's just a nice referral.
Yeah, because you're using the brand and just regular whatever.
Yeah, it's like if you do other things besides this, which I do a few other things, like then as long as that referral's coming from here, you do that with that client, right? And then yeah.
And you can weave in other processes, like if you're doing things that you already know and you think that that's going to actually be helpful for them, go ahead and weave in the things that you would normally do in what you've learned too. Anything to assist the client, if it helps them, great. I'm
not sure it's all separated anyway. Sort of whatever energy you have comes with you, right?
Yeah,
so that's
exactly. Yeah, just use your powers. However that is, that's what it is. Yeah, so all right. Yay!
I have so many questions about that, but maybe I'll use that thing we canceled and I'll talk to you about business things and just doing clients, like since I'm probably the only one here doesn't have a business already going. So some other time we'll flesh that out more. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing, Jody. Renee, you're quiet because I think you're doing something, but good to see you. Thanks, Marlene.
Thank you, Marlene.
Thank you. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, everybody. This has been great. And yeah, I'll get some information. Just be looking for an email from me and as I get things ramped up, because then I'm starting to promote to my list then too, to get sessions for you guys and to do that kind of stuff. So that's all in the strategy that's being worked up right now. So, all right, you guys.
And you'll send some document about these processes today.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I've got here, and with my notes. Yeah. Yep. So, and the replay. Okay. And
Bye.
Very exciting times.
Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
okay.